Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
El más grande de los males y el peor de los crímenes es la pobreza. Pero cuando eres niño, no lo entiendes. Nunca lo entiendes hasta que tienes tus hijos. Ahora entiendo todo, mamá.
Crecí en una familia donde faltaba el dinero. Traían el calcetín y en el calzón un agujero. Ir al McDonald's pensaba que era de ricos. Un Terrenator todos pedíamos de chicos. Tener una lonchera creía que era de lana, pues llevaba mi lonche de huevo en bolsas del Soriana. Comprar huevito Kinder o comer vieneta. Siempre pensé que solo era para ricos, la neta, porque mamá nunca tenía para comprarlos. Solo quedaba mirarlos y saborearlos. El cine lo conocí a los 17 años, y eso porque entré a trabajar ahí limpiando baños. Quería colores crayola de madera bonita, pero solo alcanzaba a comprar para los de Mapita. Me bañaba con un bote de yogur o con la manguera. Creía que era de ricos bañarse en una regadera. La comida no alcanzaba en esas cuatro paredes. Mi jefa sin comer nos decía: coman ustedes. Esos ayeres los cargo en el corazón. Creía que era para ricos el agua de garrafón. Creía que era de ricos los tenis de marca. Mi jefa me decía que eran para gente narca. Creía que era de ricos comer carne a diario, porque a mi jefa pa' carne no alcanzaba el salario. Creía que tener techo de cemento era gente pudiente. El de nosotros era de madera y lámina caliente. De niño pensé que mis jefes eran bien tacaños, porque nunca tuve una fiesta de cumpleaños. Tener cable en la tele y mirar 1000 canales. Nosotros ni a tele llegábamos, yo y mis carnales. Comer pizza era de lo más bonito, porque solo alcanzaba pa' frijoles con huevito. Llegaban por mis compañeros de la escuela en carro, y yo me la tenía que aventar a patín bien zarro. Pensé que era pa' ricos muchas cosas, no imaginas. Pensé que era pa' ricos tener puertas y no cortinas. Pensé que nomás los ricos comían sucaritas, porque yo solo comía pero de las más chafitas. En mi casa no ajustaba la raya. Ahora entiendo por qué en familia nunca fuimos a la playa. La comida no alcanzaba en esas cuatro paredes. Mi jefa sin comer nos decía: coman ustedes. Esos ayeres los cargo en el corazón. Creía que era para ricos el agua de garrafón. Creía que era de ricos los tenis de marca. Mi jefa me decía que eran para gente narca. Creía que era de ricos comer carne a diario, porque a mi jefa pa' carne no alcanzaba el salario. La comida no alcanzaba en esas cuatro paredes. Mi jefa sin comer nos decía: coman ustedes. Esos ayeres los cargo en el corazón. Creía que era para ricos el agua de garrafón. Creía que era de ricos los tenis de marca. Mi jefa me decía que eran para gente narca. Creía que era de ricos comer carne a diario, porque a mi jefa pa' carne no alcanzaba el salario.
El autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach. Viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento Lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Testing 1, 2. We should be good. We should be good. Let's see what we got here. Yo. All right, man. I think we good. Oh, yeah, I forgot this. ¡Viva México, cabrones! And I mean that all over this continent. All right, I'm not just tribe tripping here. Buenas noches. Hope everybody's good. And hope you guys hopefully can appreciate what I'm going to show you today. There is a, how can I say this? It's a word that I want to look up. I want to show you guys a word here because here, let me show you guys here. Give me a second. Hold on a second. Okay. Let's see if I can show you guys real quick. All right. So for you guys that can't see it, let me magnify this. And again, buenas noches, shalom, buenas tardes, buenos dias. Next week is a new moon for you guys that understand what that means. So be prepared. But today is, I guess, something that I guess is my opinion, and this is why I'm bringing this word up, okay? Because technically everything does fall in line with this word here. Let's just be frank, okay? Let's be frank first of all. And hold on, let me say, Cubale, buenas noches, Jeremias. What up, BTC? Guaracuya, my bad. Yasharala, what's up, bro? Thank you, man. Anyhow, so anyways, good evening. All right, so I'm gonna continue. Forgive me if I ignore some of your posts, but I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to show you guys some stuff, and hopefully you can see what I see, because technically it's all speculative in reality, but is it? So let's leave it at that. Speculative. It means engaged in, expressing, or based on conjecture rather than knowledge. Typically, or actually considering that everybody in this so-called little community that we got going on, I guess, if that's what you call it, is basically on this particular speculative subject or pattern, if you really quite frankly want to be honest with yourselves. An investment involving a high risk of loss, meaning it's all theoretical. You know what I mean? Speculative. So one other word for it, which at least a deeper meaning. Not many. I'm just trying to establish something here, because I'm going to show you what I found. And again, you can sit here and say speculative. Yeah. But again, it's what I found. And if this resonates with you, hey man, all praises to our creator. But I'm going to show you some books that you should research yourself, read them, and see for yourself, because that's all I can do. Once again, involving based on or constituting intellectual speculation, theoretical rather than demonstrative, marked by questioning curiosity or relating to or being a financial speculation. The reason I'm saying this, family, is because we actually see now what's going on. We see now that, like the movie The Matrix, it's no joke. That movie makes you really consider if we really are, caught up in something like that. So let me show you something real quick, and we can begin now. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys this book here. Okay, so again, walk with me, please. Here we go. All right, it says Mysteries of the Ancient Americas, the New World Before Columbus, written in 1986. Something more, I guess, more modern, okay? But I want to show you what they say. And let's kind of pay attention to this, okay? Let's see what they're saying. Because a lot of people, I mean, a lot of I got to borrow it again. A lot of different communities right now, I should say it that way, are trying to claim to be somebody that we feel, supposedly, right? Because we kind of know, but then again, do they really believe us? Because what it seems to be that they're not believing us who we are now, and they're believing some other people. So I'm going to show you a little bit of who you are, what I found, how this story connects. I'm going to jump back and forth with certain books. Then I'm going to show you something in the scriptures that kind of relates to what we found regarding the Llorona, the weeping woman. That's the, whole reason I did this class. And I've been working on this for some time. So let me remind you that this is the picture I was showing, the weeping Mexica woman, the weeping woman. Now, a lot of you guys know the story of La Llorona. We know it from a very, ¿cómo se dice? Dia de los Muertos type of thing. Oh, La Llorona, you better be quiet. Pórtate bien, porque va a venir por ti. It's a story we used to say at night, to scare each other. Okay, so that's the topic. But I'm going to show you some things that's going to at least kind of maybe give you a different perspective on this whole thing. Again, this is from I already showed you guys a book. I tried to get it on the PDF. I have the physical book, but I didn't want to take pictures of all of it. So forgive me. I'm going to do it this way. It says here, who it's Quetzalcoatl. By the way, I've been practicing that, V. Okay, just letting you know. If the lost 10 did not come to America and lost themselves radically in the genetic pools of certain Native American tribes, perhaps they simply visited and left an arguably more significant part of themselves, a legend, a promise, a covenant with future generations. Let me move up a little bit so we can focus on what we're reading here. I'm right here. It says here, who otherwise was the white god that Moctezuma imagined to have reappeared in the person of Cortez. Why is the feathered serpent god of Mexico, Quetzalcoatl, something like that? Again, I'm trying to work on it. Described a white man who was promised to return and redeem all his followers. Now, we have heard something like that in the Bible before, but let's continue. It says here, why does the major god of Peru, Viracocha, also resemble a European? ? But it says here, it is reasonable to speculate, as many have, that some very gifted human being came to America in ancient times, either by ancient accident or design, and shared his more highly sophisticated knowledge with the Native Americans he encountered. Later, perhaps, when his sailing vessel was repaired, or he, as his cohort, simply wanted to go, he could have pushed off into the Atlantic, promising to return someday. Over the centuries, this homely event could easily gain the sacred proportion of myth. So at least runs a theory, again, speculative, that has gained popularity with many laymen, meaning the general population, and quite conveniently, let me read that again, and quite conveniently, of course, puts the European of the tale in the position of a godlike, if not actually divine being. You see what I'm saying? do not be misled by the things that they have actually written about it, because at this point, we know that even the King James was translated by a wicked-ass individual, meaning not translated, edited, I should say that. More edited. So it's our job to really dig deep and not just go by one particular book and stay in that cubicle and then say, yes, brother, I'm all about the Most High. Oh, it don't matter. Yes, it does matter, because you have to understand that you're dealing with spirits. You're not dealing with people. You have to see what we're... Remember, we're not dealing with the flesh, with principalities and powers and governors of darkness, or governors of this world, if you read it in the Geneva translation. It says here, let me continue. There is, however, a serious flaw in the theories of white God as a European. This is only after the Spanish conquest that Quetzalcoatl is depicted as having a white skin. You see this? Only after, okay? And then only in accounts provided by the Spaniards themselves. Now, keep in mind, if you watch what I've been showing you, that I prove that we're dark skin and light skin. So it shouldn't concern you if we happen to be light skin. But the way that they twisted and turned this particular so-called speculative story, it makes you assume otherwise, which is why people say mestizo. Like, well, what do you think that means? If you believe in the book, then there's no such thing as mestizo. Excuse me. That's the fact. In local Aztec art, he is usually depicted as a feathered serpent or as a human wearing a mask or shown to have a black face, sometimes with a yellow stripes and a red mouth. There are symbolic attributes. Black, for example, was the color associated with priest. The God soul link with the color white was equally symbolic. Quetzalcoatl was the personification of the planet Venus as both the morning star and the evening star. As we know, remember, this is where people start interpreting their own history. Don't fall. In the latter role, which is suggestion of the sun setting in the west, of the coming of the night of, and thereof the old age, decline, and death. It says here, Quetzalcoatl was indeed identified with the color white and hue, skeleton, and corpse. Nothing known of the Aztec legend, though, implies that he had been a white man or a European in his human form on Earth. So this is technically what they are saying, right? That this is, the whole concept and our so-called God, and we are expecting a gringo. That's what we know. At least that's what they used to tell us. And that we had different deities. Let me continue here. Let's see if this is something that I want to, let's see. Facial hair. So here we're talking about, but what about the beards? Would these not be highly unusual among the Native Americans, who most people assumed never grew facial hair? Yet facial hair possessed in varying degrees by various tribes and individuals throughout the Americas could be, as some theorists have proposed, the result of intermingling with foreign populations who passed in on the trait. No, we know that they were plucking their hairs as well with seashells. We see here the beard concept. We see here the, I guess he's laying on some, or sitting on something, some type of serpents of some sort. Okay. So now, why is this important, and why do I have to show you this? Because this is what they typically told us in regards to, our so-called heritage, or at least who these gods were, or that we were anticipating some gringo, and they gave us a lot of how can I say, different history, and if you don't research for yourself, you will fall into the trap. So let me show you this real quick. All right. This is from, hold on a second. Is this one? Nope, not that one. Oh, here we go. Right here. Thank you, my bro. Let me see something. Hold on. Where are you at? Thought I downloaded that thing. Let's see. Do I have it? I thought it was downloaded. Let's see. Main series of the Ancient Americas. Let me see. Main series of Ancient Americas. Hold on a second. Is it this one? Or is it this one? 3839. Give me a second here. Okay, human race. Give me a second, family. I'm trying to look for something. If not, I'm going to move on from this. Okay, here we go. Okay, I got it. My bad. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this page right here. This is from a very interesting book that I have here. I bought this, I believe, I don't remember, to be honest, but it's called Return of the Indian, Conquest and Revival in the Americas. I wanted to read this because, again, the title is regarding the Llorona, relating to the weeping woman. Okay. If you guys don't understand, the scriptures do relate Jerusalem to a woman, the nation. Okay. But these are things that happened to this woman. And we read that in the scripture. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a visual and then some historical connections to it. On page 492, it says women and children. I'm not gonna read it all. I'll just run through some sections. You guys again can purchase the book. It's called Return of the Indian. Do I have a copy of it? Yes, I do. This one right here. Okay. Return of the Indian, Conquest, Revival in America. It's a really interesting book. Okay. Anyways, on the 92, it says women and children first, the most vulnerable resist. The most vulnerable always suffer more. Women, children, and old people. Now, we understand Deuteronomy 28, 40, Deuteronomy 28, 50. I mean, it's good to see it, to compare it, because, see, we have to, I mean, what are we talking about then? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, is this what we're about, or are we just Christians reading something to lead us to the right path of the never ending? Or do you believe this is your book? So again, let's read it. Deuteronomy 28:50. They won't show any mercy. They will have no respect for old people or pity for children. Once again, the most vulnerable always suffer more. Women, children, and old people. Initially, at least, Spanish men, and we understand which color they came in, okay? Black and white, and brown too. Spanish men depended on native women for sexual relations. From what we know of the conquest, its brutality and racism, it is clear that rape and forced cohabitation were routine. Do not forget about its brutality. You forced our women as pieces of meat, which is very sad when I hear Wabos talk about their grandma. Well, do you know how that happened? But do you understand that it's of the father now? At that point, you ain't native. You're done. Which is why we don't have the same spirit. The most vulnerable always suffer more. Women, children, and old people. Initially, at least, Spanish men, again, not just white folks, depended on native women, not just white folks, family. We had black conquistadors as well. Let's not forget, because in this channel, we make sure that they understand. How can I say this? It's not BHI channels that just want to end up wanting to, I don't know, how can I say it? I don't know, just point the finger at one particular people. That's it. No. That's not what we're doing here. So let's continue. It says abuses were encouraged by the macho. Okay, here we go. This is why I wanted to show you this. You see, a lot of times they say us so-called, I'm going to say Hispanics here, gente from, you know what I'm saying? So-called Hispanics. If you believe you're indigenous, that's what I'm talking about. They say that the whole concept of machismo came from us, but that's not true, family. That's not true at all. Look, Spanish men depended on native women for sexual relations. If you look at our history, we were not doing that. That was not something we practice here. From what we know of the conquest, its brutality and racism, it is clear that rape and forced cohabitation were routine. Abuses were encouraged by the macho culture that the invaders imported. Once again, we have been misled to believe even that macho is like our thing. Well, I don't know, bro, but you know, I love my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I love my abuelita and my tias and my sisters. I wasn't machoistic with them. I love my daughter. I'm not machoistic. At least I'm not trying to be, but it is instituted within us because this is what we hear. Yet we're finding out abuses were encouraged by the macho culture that the invaders imported. So that means the other people from this other continent even imported that spirit in you. That's why, scripturally speaking, you can see now, well, some people want to use this particular verse here, between here and here, and say, oh, you know, like, nah, it was really, it's beyond the emotional things. This, I mean, I can just basically say that you would have no love for your family. To this point, when you're being constantly oppressed, or at least institutionalized, what other way can you learn from when this is all they're teaching you? If your father did that, then his father's fathers did that. Guess what? That so-called machismo is then inherited. We see that now. But again, we know that it doesn't come or originate from us. It was implanted in us. A culture which denied women the right to land upheld by many indigenous societies. You see this? Because scripturally speaking, if you understand that we were keeping the laws here, we were also pertaining to land, don't you think? If certain tribes, certain fathers only had certain daughters in that certain tribe, I mean, they made sure that they'd have some legitimate ownership of land, right? Here, they said, nah, no. Our culture, our Castellano way, that you are PUTOs or PUTAs, I'm sorry, which separated families as men were recruited for forced labor, which made a money economy from women, which were largely excluded the basis of power. You know, and look, let's continue here. Like I said, I'm going to read some areas. The rape of indigenous women epitomized the rape of indigenous culture and land. You see this? The rape of indigenous women epitomized the rape of indigenous culture and land. Now, let me read. Hold on. Give me a second here. Let me give me a second here. Hold on. Let me write it down. I'm just going to read it. It means be a perfect example, okay? A perfect example. The rape of indigenous women was a perfect example, I guess. It epitomized the rape of indigenous culture and land. It was a perfect example of it. The way that they were abused, brothers and sisters, that's how we were all abused, man. In fact, that's why when you read, here, I'll bring this real quick. Remember, I got this other translation here. You guys know about it. I'm going to jump in a couple of different ones. And I believe we're going to go to chapter 2. Yeah, chapter 2, I think. Is it chapter 2? Let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Am I looking for chapter 2? I think I am. Let me just read a couple verses. Oh, man. It's kind of heavy, man. When I read this stuff, I just, oh, God, it kind of burns my spirit a lot. Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 2. Thus saith Yahoo, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them commandments through my servants, the prophets, but they would not listen to them and made my counsels void. The mother who bore them says to them, go, my children, because I am a widow and forsaken. It's talking about, like, for example, La Llorona. You're going to see how that relates to us too. Again, it's, you know, you could sit here and say it's speculative. Well, of course, everything could be. Everything now that we know is speculative now. Everything, basically. So it's up to you now. It ain't up to following the group. It's up to you now. That's why 2 Ezra 7 makes perfect sense. A narrow path that only one person can walk by themselves. It only makes sense. And because I'm a widow and forsaken, I brought you up with gladness, but with mourning and sorrow, I had lost you, because you have sinned before the Lord God and have done what is evil in my sight. You see this here? You see this right here? So now, if you, hold on, let me go back to it real quick. What are we talking about? Let me see. Hold on a second. Okay. It says here, the rape of indigenous women epitomized the rape of indigenous culture and land as one of the most powerful symbols of conquest and degradation. Rape remains a powerful weapon of the continuing war against indigenous people. So just like that's why it's important that I show you this side, because a lot of times we hear rape as men, we don't relate that to us in a sense, but it is a saying that just like our women were raped on that level, so horrific, we were raped mentally and spiritually. You have to start really paying attention that we're not complaining, saying, "Oh, it's oppression. I want reparations." No, we go to work. What I mean is, spiritually speaking, we're different people. So that's why I'm trying to wake that up. Let's continue. It says racism and ethnocide, by the way, they do make a difference. There's genocide, and that's very publicized, right? But this word here, ethnocide, you don't really hear a lot of people paying attention to that word. Matter of fact, you know what I mean? That I think that they use this terminology when it comes to us. Hold on a second. Let me see. I spelled. Oh my God! Come on, bro. Ethnocide. Ethnocide meaning. It says here. Check this out. The deliberate and systematic destruction of the culture of an ethnic group. Isn't that the same as genocide? But they call it, for us, ethnocide. The racism and ethnocide underlying such campaigns often means that the women and young children, the symbols of any ethnic group's ability to reproduce and continue in existence, are singled out. Now you understand what I meant by they were trying to outbreed us, family? Now you know why it's so disgusting when at least when I'm reading these things, and how powerful this is, what that actually means. We have to really pay attention to what we're reading. Here's the next page. We see one of our older sisters here. Guatemala, women at the exhumation of relatives from a clandestine cemetery in Baja Verapaz, 1994. It says, women of his family being raped. Okay, hold on a second. Let me read this. I didn't read the last part. Oh, hold on a second. Let me read this part. Let me continue here. I guess I gotta have to read this. Okay, let me find this out. Old people, the traditional repository of a group oral history, religious belief, and myth, are also common targets. We are going to leave them with no seed. You see this? A Guatemalan colonial or colonel, I guess, Horacio Maldonado, shot. As you can tell, that this is not a native language last name. It even seems Arab in a sense. We understand Psalms 83. Remember, keep that in mind. Many nations came here, took advantage of it, and boasted against it. Anyways, boasted during a ruthless counterinsurgents campaign that killed at least 40,000 indigenous people, thousands of them children, in the early 1980s. I'm seeing similarities. That's why I was telling you guys, in Palestine, it's a micro level of what happened to us on a macro level. We've been through this many, many, many times. The Palestine situation doesn't impress me. It saddens me because I don't like seeing children and people dying. If you're going to go to war and you're a soldier, I understand that, but how they're dying is different. I mean, again, I'm not saying everybody there is not our gente. I'm not saying that, but again, I only worry about the church here on this continent. 7 churches, 7 continents. I'm worried about one of them here. Let me continue. If you pursue a wolf, you have to go after the whelps. U.S. President Andrew Jackson, we all know this guy, right? Assured his followers after winning the presidency in 1828 on his record as an Indian fighter. And then it says, from the moment that Manco Inca Yupanqui was forced to watch the Inca woman of his family being raped by Spaniards in the 1530s. So imagine watching this. Imagine you're being held down. I have 2 daughters. I don't know how many daughters you guys have. But imagine you being held down and having to watch this. Okay? And we know what Spaniards came. Ain't no more such thing as white people only. The woman who clothed, fed, and gave life to potential indigenous resistors have been singled out for abuse. Listen, the women who clothed, fed, and gave life to potential indigenous resistors had been singled out for abuse. You see this? Our beautiful sisters, the ones that were actually going out of their way to make sure that some of us young men were trying to make it, they were targeting them. Now you understand where the Carmelita story comes from and why I kind of gave you guys some shorts on that. I mean, Lord willing, I have the chance to do a kind of nice class on that one, because that's typically what we see. Our sisters are always got our back, man. Always. Look, again, the women who clothed, fed, and gave life to potential indigenous resistors had been singled out for abuse. Don't we see this in Exodus once again, that they were attacking the women? Again, got to pay attention. Yet that very abuse helped inspire some of the fiercest resistance from women, and in some cases guaranteed the survival of indigenous culture. Men are more susceptible to taking up the vices of the colonizers. Indian women are stronger, more responsible, and hold on more moral values, says Wara Alderete. So she says. But for the sake of the class, let's continue. I'm not going to put opinion on this right now, or certain scriptural verses for this. Let's just continue. Maybe our women are more active because they have more need to survive. I mean, again, let's continue. Today, and we're almost done with this page here, the mixed race product of the conquest is most evident in Mexico, the country with the largest mestizo, that name right there. There's no such thing as mestizo family, okay? You got to understand that. Here, government efforts to make the cultural racial mixing that resulted from the conquest the basis of a new national culture have enjoyed some success. Many Mexicans now take a certain pride in their mixed ancestry, hijos de la chingada, children of the rape. So when somebody tells you that, that's what it means. I a lot of times we use words and we don't understand what we're actually saying. Hijo de la chingada. You're saying children of rape. That's really what you're saying. Let me just finish it on the bottom. For many women, death, suicide, miscarriage, and self-mutilation seem to be, I don't know if I have that another page, do I? Maybe I see that, man. I didn't get to read that part. Seem to be better options than the hell the Europeans preached about and then visited on them during the early years of the conquest. Like, again, every religion has a wicked root behind them. Every single one that we've actually explored. Every single one. Now, we know now regarding at least you should understand what I mean by religions. But we understand now that even so-called people that have a new idea, new religion, yours has a negative, wicked-ass roots. BHI has wicked-ass roots, family. It's quite frankly just another religion. Again, Diego de Landa records the story of a young married Maya called Bacalan who, after being captured by the Spaniards, took her own life rather than be defiled. Now, why do you think she rather die than be defiled? Because she understood the value of the scriptures. She understood what it would mean if she was defiled. She could, again, regeneration. We believe that. And I'm going to show you that too. Let me show you. It says, according to Diego Landa, she was thrown to the dogs. Remember the Dogs of Conquest, the book I showed you? You can find a lot of information in there. And again, don't forget who these conquistadors were. We used to think they used to have blonde hair and blue eyes, right? And just spoke Swedish. No, Uncle Manfred. That ain't the fact, Jack. According to Diego Landa, she was thrown to the dogs. Her incidental disposal inspiring the dedication of Bulgarian literary critic Svetsan Todorov, Book of the Conquest of America, New York, 1984, to the memory of the Maya woman devoured by dogs. Check this out. I think I showed you guys this before. Hold on. I won't take too long to find it. If I don't have it, I don't have it. Oh well, I actually have it on a short video. I saw he showed you guys the video about the sister that they're running together and the dogs are chasing them and she just can't run anymore. She just can't run anymore. And as everybody's escaping, she's left behind. Just like imagine your tia or your grandma or your tia or your mom. She can't run no more. She can't run no more. So she has to sit down. She's fixing her hair, fixing her cover. You know what I mean? And this animal's running at her full speed, man. His full intent was to bite her face. The memory of a Maya woman devoured by dogs. As the conquest intensified, so did the apparent starkness of choice facing indigenous people. Compliance leading to servitude and loss of culture identity, a living death. In one indigenous leader's words. You see this right here, family? Compliance leading to servitude and loss of cultural identity to him meant a living death. A living death. I think we know what I think we've seen that before, right? Revelation 11:8, their dead bodies will be left lying in the streets of the same great city where the Lord was nailed to the cross, and that city is spiritually like the city of Sodom and the country of Egypt. So, once again, compliance leading to servitude and loss of cultural identity is like a living death. In one indigenous leader's words, a resistance leading to the probable physical death. The physical death. The probable physical death. It makes me think about this scripture right here, man. Deuteronomy 28:29, watch what it says. And that even in bright sunshine, you will have to feel your way around like a blind person who cannot tell the day from night. For the rest of your life, people will beat and rob you, and no one will be able to stop them. Aren't the Wobbles saying they're the people of this land? Aren't they saying that? People will beat and rob you, and no one will be able to stop them. Aren't the so-called white man helping them, financing these so-called movies like Wakanda? They don't even relate to Africa, but here we go. The so-called Jew, the Israeli, who can't prove that they are, sure as hell finances these type of things. Where the hell did these other stories come from? We have white folks claiming to be natives. I literally saw this so-called white lady, man. She gave me her ID, and it was like total native. She looked totally white. She is native. Again, people will beat and rob you, and no one will be able to stop them. No, did you guys forget? And this is something that happens to our history often, family. They just brush it aside, put it under the rug, like no big deal. 1917, Carmelita Torres, the reason she didn't get off the train was she was tired of getting fumigated every damn day for crossing the freaking border. That's exactly why she didn't get off the train. It wasn't no damn Rosa Parks, man. That was all made up. Just like their own people said it. He said it himself. But see, it's all swept under the rug. Once again, people will beat and rob you, and no one will be able to stop them. Why? Because you're blind. You cannot tell the day and night, right? You can't tell it's bright sunshine. And like this brother was saying, compliance leading to servitude, the loss of a cultural identity is basically a living death. A living, walking death. And to me, it's a really sad thing. When I'm like actually taking time to read this stuff, and I really encourage you brothers and sisters who watch this, who actually do want to take the time to do this, your mind, your spirit you're going to change. Look, man, I have no intent into ever put my hands on my gente ever again. I grew up, I had a lot of, fights growing up, man. Mostly with my gente. At this point in my life, I'm not interested in doing that. But again, because I don't relate this book with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to revive the spirit any best way I can, because I'm in a proper way. I'm proud. Listen, I didn't ask to be a Mexica, man, but I'm damn freaking blessed to be one.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
The cross and the sword, page 88, killing for God. The conquest was carried out in the name of Christianity. One of the main, we're continuing on that page, remember that. One of the main, page 89, one of the main vehicles for cultural abuse, or what has been termed ethnocide, the cultural equivalent of genocide. But why is it that they don't even ever question or even relate that? No. Genocide don't apply to you, beaners, spigs, or wetbags. Yeah, I'm talking to us in the islands too. We're all included here. The conquistadores, and we know what they are now, like white padres, black padres, right? Saw themselves as Christians rather than Castilians, Aragonis, or Andalusians. Why? Because now we know that there was a bunch of different people, different nationalities considering themselves Spaniards now, much like Spaniard. Since the Middle Age, the church had allowed the import and sales of infidel, non-Christian slaves, but by the 15th century, the label was being applied to the slaves' ethnic origin rather than religious beliefs. Other facet of the obsession was race. Once again, it only started applying to us for a particular matter of time. And then it moved on to someone else. Religious conversion made little difference for many. You see this here? Let's skip real quick. Churches were, again, this is why Christianity, man, you guys have a problem. You don't understand. And even America to this very day, you don't let go of the doctrine of discovery, which falls under the papal bull that the church wrote. America still sits by that, and they'll go to court with it. I think they already did it one time in 1825. Well, I wouldn't do it again. It says here, churches were invariably built on the ruins of indigenous places of worship, using indigenous labor, symbolizing the way that forced labor and religious conversions went hand in hand. Encomiendas or dancomiendas, land grants awarded to leading conquistadors fixed an amount of indigenous labor and tribute in return for a commitment to convert the Spanish king's new subject to Christianity. For the sake of time, let me just go to it real quick. I'm going to show you guys what that means. That's what that means right here. Baruch 3:8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. Payments. You see this? Here we see that not only in the encomiendas, you were distributed equally, so to speak, right? Awarded to leading conquistadors fixed an amount of indigenous labor, but then at the same time, you had to pay tribute in return for the commitment to convert the Spanish king new subject to Christianity. The missionaries themselves resettled scattered indigenous groups in congregaciones and reducciones, specially designed villages where conversions and accumulations could take place. Often reasonable for breaking down ethnic loyalties and traditions in name of modernization and civilization. Do you understand what that means? Although many missionaries shielded their converts from the worst excesses of the conquistadors in such settlements, they were often responsible for breaking down ethnic loyalty, traditions in the name of modernization and civilization. Like, for example, this one here, ethnic loyalties, right? I'm born in Guadalajara. I have family down there, like several generations. But somehow, some way, because I show you some science proving, the migration too, in a sense, that's not enough now. Now that's speculative, and then you use that to call me a white man. Again, often responsible for breaking down ethnic loyalties, Like I said before, man, I don't want to go out there, tell you guys something, teach you guys something, and then because you don't agree with me, I'm gonna kick your ass. I don't hate my gente like that. And if you think that that's funny and cool, still to this day, then you need to really see who you are. I don't mean, particularly speaking, I don't have that to hurt my gente anymore. And this has been like that for quite some time. To be quite frank, when I saw stuff like that, it made me sad, man. It didn't matter who that would have happened to. It just makes me sad to see that between our people. We see the power behind the rape that first occurred to our women and also our children. They call it ethnocide, when it's reality genocide. But see, they're not willing to call it genocide because it's too offensive. And what I mean by, breaking together, breaking us apart as people, because that's what brings us together, man. You see, I'll show you something in a bit. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I find this very interesting because they went and attacked our household. You see, these people knew what our nucleus was. That's why in the scriptures it says, build families, honor your father and your mother, raise your children, teach them the laws, statutes, and commandments according to the ways. Raise your daughters right, marry them honorably. You know what I'm saying? And when you get older, kids, cuida tu abuelito, güey. Cuida tu mamá, cuida tu papá. That's what we're about. But they destroy the family structure. I'm going to show you something. This is from Occupied America, A History of Chicano by Rodolfo Acuña. This is a prerequisite in Chicano studies, in case you don't know. All right, so just letting you know. This is, I think, the 7th edition or the 3rd edition. I don't remember. One of the two. It says here on page, I don't know what page, 24, I think. It says the family structure also changed during the colonial period. For a time, the native nobility kept much of their prestige, but the colonization led to the breakdown of the traditional indigenous family framework, which was based on the extended family rather than the highly patriarchal nuclear family that the Spaniards favored, which means this. Like today, here in America, you have your own home. You are your own king, so to speak, and your mom and your dad can't tell you shit. Nor can your grandma and grandpa. Or nor do you need their advice. No, you have doctors and you have psychiatrists for that. So they understood that that's not how we rolled. Like some of us still relate to our parents, older parents, for some advice. Maybe some of you guys have grandparents and like you go talk to abuelito or abuelito about certain things. That exactly is why spiritually you are doing that, because that's who we are. I'll show you. I'm going to continue. Which bases an extended family rather than highly patriarchal nuclear family. The Indians would, the Spanish favored. Why did they favor that though? According to Carmack and his colleagues, colonial authorities believed that the Indians would be easier to supervise and control if divided into small nuclear households. So what do you think that means? Instead of you counting on your forefathers' ways like the scriptures, because if they believe that and they teach you that and you relate to what they're talking about and you come to them and they give you advice and they base it on the book, then obviously you have a extended family type of respect, a unity, a community, a nucleus, right? They wanted to destroy that, reduce the authority, not only to reduce the authority of the elders, but also remove the support network for women within the clan, because guess what would happen? You know, like if you're in a herd, the lion's going to always go out for the weaker one or the ones that are kind of outside the circle. That's why they always say stay in the middle. And even in their disgusting ways, here's what they continue to do. They created early marriages, right? Also influenced gender relations. Early marriage also influenced gender relations and increased the power of male within the nuclear families, reducing the authority of native women within the clan. When again, machismo, which is what they brought to us. The age difference between male and female spouses favored the male. This is scriptural. A 20-year-old male married to a 14-year-old girl held much more power than it would be both were 20 years old, because remember the scriptures talk about that. A man can only go to war when he's around 20, correct? Well, it's kind of the same concept with the woman. They'd have to be around the same age. That's why this whole concept of getting married early was not something that we practiced, but they wanted to, because again, created the whole concept of patriarchal, get rid of the old man, get rid of the abuelita, you're your own household, you rule your own home, you're your own man. And now she's your slave, your maid. And machismo starts kicking in. And now you're like, yeah, you're right. You're right. But you see, I'm going to show you some visuals here, fam. This is why when I hear these...
La gente piensa que a más...
Right? Now, as you know, I follow politics. And I follow politics not because I vote, but I like to keep my eye on the world. Listen to what this guy's saying in regards to the mentality in Mexico. A lot of time, in case you guys don't speak Spanish, we'll get a translator. You have to think about this, okay? When we have a spiritual way of being, not on the flesh, not what they manipulated us in thinking, but your spiritual essence of yourself, raza, like our cultura, right? We take care of our mothers. We want to be with family. When we want to hang out with family, we want to eat. We eat. You know what I mean? That's what we do. We eat. I don't know what people don't do that, but we eat. So that's what I mean. That spiritual essence about our people. We always look out for each other, no matter what. If I got a tortilla, I'm going to share with you. Hey, by the way, I'm probably my bad if I'm falling behind, okay? My bad. I'm just kind of going quick. I see some of you guys posting. So that's the essence of who we are. Okay, so I'm going to show you this beautiful book. It's interesting, but there's a page about it. And again, when you're influenced by Christianity and even by these trying to plug away from this wicked understanding, at the same time keeping the way of the Most High, that's hard. So, you know, you peel layers, and sometimes you got to break through and question some real shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. But then when you start seeing and you start reading, you break through those things and you start reading other things, and you realize that is why it makes perfect sense. You connect them. Anyways, let me give you a visual of how the other nations think and how we think. Okay? I'm going to give you a couple videos. Let's go.
Educación, la gente vota mejor. Mentira, dice Bobbio. La gente culta, instruida, vota por sus propios intereses, no por los del pueblo. Yo soy doctor, pues yo quiero, tengo maestrías y he viajado y tengo títulos en el extranjero, pues yo quiero que alguien represente mis intereses, no los de los campesinos o los de los obreros.
Claro.
Y eso hace que mucha gente se desencante por la democracia. O sea, a mí qué me importa que gane Juan o Pedro, lo que quiero es que me resuelvan los problemas. Y si eso me lo va a resolver un dictador, bienvenido.
Claro. You hear that? You hear what he said? But basically, in case to summarize, just to say, listen, the most educated aren't always the ones that are voting for the best interest of everybody, you know. You know, they're educated, they're doctors, they're lawyers. Like, hey, I earned this, I traveled, I went here and there. I want you to do what benefits me. What benefits me? What are we seeing right now with Donald Trump? Aren't they saying, oh, dictator? Why? Because he says, because it benefits them. They're not looking for everybody else. They're just benefiting them. And see, this is why I'm not in a necessity situation where I'm like collecting EBT family. I work my ass off. And all praises to our creator that he's allowing me to maintain. But at the same time, I don't have that spirit of envy to not help my brethren that need help. Righteously, though. But let's continue.
Eso es un gran peligro.
Pueden ser científicos y no tener cultura, porque no es lo mismo. Puede ser un campesino, un obrero, un indígena, con mucha cultura, muchísima más cultura que ellos.
And what he means by that is because that is technically our heritage, the way that we think or that we like to look, how we like to look out for each other. Give me a second here. Hold on. I'll wait for that one. That's kind of off the topic right now. Here we go.
Por el bien
Check this out.
de todos primero.
So, once again, remember, and by the way, this guy is successful. He doesn't need to share. He doesn't need to. But look what he said.
Por el bien de todos primero los pobres. No se vayan con la finta, analicen y salgan a votar este 2 de junio porque es importantísimo que estos señores no ganen, que ganen lo menos posible. Y si es posible que no ganen.
You guys don't know, Mexico's about to vote for a president, okay? And they're going back and forth about certain things. But a lot of people are starting to see the difference in how for 70, 80 plus years, a certain particular political party wasn't favoring the nation at all. They were only favoring themselves, enricándose ellos mismos. But now, I guess people are starting to kind of see the more of a spiritual way of how people are. And see, this woman went around saying that she's indigenous, blah, 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 blah. But look how she talks. Now, earlier I said what they did to our sisters initially. Our women were raped, slaughtered, murdered, forced to cohabitate with these nasty bastards who didn't like to shower, who brought smallpox. You know what I'm saying? Who still don't wash their ass. This actually happened. Imagine, God forbid, what they did to our little younger brothers or sisters. So now remember that, okay? We clearly see that we look out for our older brothers and sisters and our abuelitos. I said that, right? Okay, so this is when we start noticing, hey, wait a minute. That don't sound like our gente. Well, guess what? Just because they look like you, don't mean they're you. Listen in.
Su madre.
Yo lo que les pediría a los papás que me están viendo, dejen de joder y de estorbar a sus hijos. Me acuerdo que una vez mi mamá me dijo, oye, pero es que si te vas, tenía yo que salir a Francia, si te vas a Francia me voy a morir. Le dije, ya, pues muérete.
O cuando habló de su padre.
Mi papá fue maestro rural, pero tuvo un problema de alcoholismo, brutal violencia física. Un día agarró una escopeta y dijo que le iba a disparar. Mi papá era tan borracho que nunca construyó una casa.
Pero luego cambió la versión y dijo esto.
A mi padre por haberme enseñado el valor del trabajo.
Mi papá se murió priista. Él realmente creía en los principios de este partido.
O cuando habló de sus padres como adultos mayores.
También los adultos mayores, que ya no nos los quedemos. Yo me quedé con mis padres 10 años. Y mis hermanos decían, es que mis papás quieren estar contigo. No, cabrón, no los quieres cuidar, es la verdad. Por eso me los mandas.
O cuando...
You see that right there? Sorry about that, but so when I'm listening to this woman talk, I'm like what she initially said. She was, I guess, at that talk, the TED talk, and she's trying to advise people about their parents. Like, hey, parents, you guys should know when to let go. Like when I needed to go to France, my mom was like, no, please don't go. What if I die? And she's like, well, die. Because I ain't stopping. She ain't stopping. Like, oh, man. See what I'm saying? I know it's not funny, but man, it's easily, you can easily tell. Now at least we know. Like not all skin folk is so-called kinfolk. And again, it's in their talk and it's in their mannerisms. I mean, I understand maybe, but man, I don't know. I don't know how you could be that way to your parents. How you can just not give a damn about them. That's to me, that's pretty wicked. Hold on a second. Let me see where it's at. I thought I got it. Let me see. Hold on a second. I'm gonna move on to another book here real quick. This is that one I wanted to show you guys. This one here. It's called Yucatan Before and After the Conquest. Okay. Hold on. No, back. Here it goes right here. Check this out. This is on page V118. And I apologize for the picture, the blurry part. But I'm going to try to make a point. Again, this whole trying to go back to our roots, right? It's not a cardinal thing, fam. It's a spiritual thing. There's something within you. Well, I should say within me, or I'll say within you, or usually when I talk to you, there's something within us that is yearning to remember, strengthen our memory, So let's read this. We are told by all that in the oldest days, under the almost legendary Itza rule, the Mayas worshiped one supreme, quote-unquote, God, formless and without images, as the Egyptians with his life-giving Nile, his wheat fields and raw, the life-giving sun, to the Americans, God was the ever-acting beneficent force above and behind nature and life of every kind. So we understood that there was a supreme, all-powerful, beyond the sun and everything. The Mayas had two actual words that show this. Ba'il is the physicality of things, and La'il, the inner essence. In Spanish, the ser interior, the inner being. So hold on that for a moment here. Like, don't move on from this thought right now. Think about what I'm sharing with you, okay? One supreme, one creator. They related in some way, suggesting Egyptian. And then it says, but we had an understanding of a inner essence of us and the physical essence of us. Now, when by centuries of slavery, now I want you to understand why I was sharing with you initially that the rape that happened to our women is a physical sense. The rape that happened to us is a spiritual sense. The rape that happened to all of us is the rape that happened to the whole entire nation in the land of the Mexica. Which is why the Llorona is an interesting concept. And again, this is what I see. My opinion, I don't care if you don't believe. This is not for debate. This is what I'm sharing, and that's what I see. Like I said, speculative maybe, but so is everything else. So is Christianity, and so is science. Now hold on, let me go back. It says here, now when by centuries of slavery, remember we're talking about our Maya gente understood that there was a spiritual essence to us beyond the physical regeneration. By the way, that's a topic I'm going to be touching pretty soon. I'm going to do a class on regeneration, as a matter of fact. So it says here that the interior and exterior aspect. Now, when by the centuries of slavery, remember Deuteronomy 28:29, there will be blind, walking in darkness, not knowing what to do, and everything we do would be basically oppression by centuries of slavery and the wiping out of those who taught him in this. The Ma'atzil, or scientists, and the Chilanes, or proclaimers, you reduce his conception of God to that of a being who gave him and his lands to the king of Spain, telling him that that is God, and there is no God save that God. When after centuries of powerlessness, and with all news of any other view shut out and kept out by the bull of Paul III. Do you understand what this is saying? Let me go back here. First of all, this first section is talking about, we understood there was this spirit, creator of all. Now, we understood that there was a physical part of us and an interior part of us. So in a sense, we connected that to where, like I said, the like the scriptures say, the kingdom of God dwelleth in you. We knew that. However, like the other book that I showed you guys, what the brother was saying, the moment you lose your culture, your cultural identity, you're basically dead in the mind. Here we see that a century of slavery and the wiping out of those who taught him in this, the Al-Imaitzil, or scientific, and the Chilanese, or proclaimers, you reduce his conception of God to that of a being who gave him his lands to the kings of Spain. And now they told us for a long time, that is God right there. Like brothers, native brothers that really don't like this book, I understand that, because that's what I saw. That is God. Telling him that is God, and there's no God except that God right there. That's why when I tell y'all I was born in Guadalajara, I'm very proud. Come over here, like, yeah, I'm from Guanatos, homeboy. No, I wasn't saying homeboy, like, I'm from Guadalajara. Man, I was reminded real quick, you're just a beaner. I was reminded. Okay? I was powerless at this point. I never had noticed this kind of spirit that hated me because of the way I looked. That went after centuries of powerlessness and with all news. Let me skip that. It says, let's see, given as in favor of 1537, he at least comes to the era of the cientifico rule under Diaz, is ground by its to the last degree of exploitation and the loss even of the individual farm and to townships. Check this out. That has survived somehow through the years of darkness and evil. The Chumayel manuscript tells us about, and then revolts. Nothing is more certain than that while a while we will revolt against the whole scheme and for a while say there is no God, as Job was urged to do. Remember, some of us started thinking that, right? Some of us started thinking that. This is kind of, so let me go back. Sorry, my bad. Some of us started thinking that there is no God. But you can no more make the Indian an atheist than his comforters could Job. It could not be done. You see this? So even though, yes, they came and they understood, we understood God. They understood, we understood Paul, like Romans 7:23. There's an outward man and an inward man. We understood that. And they understood that no matter what you try to tell them and convert us into being atheists, but you can no more make the Indian an atheist than his comforters could Job. It cannot be done. So let me say this, and thus it is no more, no less than a sin against man to tell an Indian that his communalism, meaning the community, the way we look out for each other, right? It should be considered. Let me skip this because it's confusing. Not confusing. I don't want to confuse you because when you read it, it would. But let me just say this: the Indians that his communalism, right, which is social order, is communism, the denial of private ownership, and atheism, because that's what they teach to this day. Communism, it's atheism. That's what the evangelicals teach. That's how they attack the Republicans. You see these videos, you look it up. Republicans teach this stuff, that communism also includes atheism. Here they're saying, if you believe in helping your gente out, you're a communist. So the two concepts have no relation, except through the false syllogisms of universality and exclusivism to support the divine right to claim. To support the divine right to claim, man. And this is to me at least one heavy. Oh, matter of fact, let me use this one. It's a heavy point because now at least I can show you why when we go into the whole story of like Llorona, you know, you can see like the relation. Check it out. Okay. So now let's start reading the Bible a little bit. Let me show you something. 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 1. Thus say Lord, look, for the sake of time, I'm just going to read the words for what they are, okay? We understand what they mean, but Lord willing, we can just read them through without, sinning, I guess. I brought these people out of bondage. I gave them commandments through my servant, the prophet, but they would not listen to them and made my counsel void. The mother who bore them says to them, you see, the mother who bore them. There's a number 2 here. Okay, well, let's continue. Go, my children, because I am a widow and forsaken. I brought you up with gladness, but with mourning and sorrow I have lost you, because you have sinned before the Lord God and have done what is evil in my sight. You see, this is the woman telling her children. But now, what can I do for you? For I am a widow and forsaken. Now, do we not hear the story of La Llorona? The sorrow, forsaken because supposedly she killed her children. Supposedly, right? That's what we were told. For now I am a widow and forsaken. Go, my children, and ask for mercy from the Lord. Now I call upon you, Father, as a witness in addition to the mother of, check it out, to the mother of children, because they would not keep my covenant, so that you may bring confusion on them and bring their mother to ruin. Whoa. Bruh. See, their mother, meaning the land. Right? A lot of native brothers here understand like Mother Earth concept. Okay, so it's in a sense speaking like that. That's why the Llorona you're gonna see historically. I'm gonna show you some books. Let them be scattered among the nations, and let their names be blotted out from the earth, because they have despised my covenant. You see this right here. Because they have despised my covenant. So now, let me show you something. This is from a book called Open Veins. Hold on. See here real quick. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. This is from a book called Open Veins, okay? Check this out. I'll read the bottom part, but look at the first part. It's called Open Veins of Latin America. Really good book. Watch what it says here. I'll go back. A beautiful book about memory, and soon after he began a sort of conversation with the souls. Hold on, let me move this over here. With the souls of America. Memories of Fire, a massive fresco of Latin American history since the pre-Columbian era to modern times. Check this out. Look what it says. I imagine that America was a woman. Okay? I imagine that America was a woman, and she was telling me in my ear her secrets, the act of love and violations that had created her. You see this right here? I found this so catching. Like, whoa. Like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Whoa. Let me say this. Because we know. We understand what went about. The brutality, exploitation, taking unthinkable risk. Anyways, that's another point. Let me read this. We live in a world that treats the dead better than the living. We, the living, are asking of questions and givers of answers. And we have we have other grave defects unpardonable by a system that believes death, like money, improves people. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy how that works, you know. Let me show you this part right here. Give me a second. I think I have the book here. One, two. Yes. Check this out. This is from a book I have. I think I showed you guys this once. It's an interesting page. Okay, I'm going to read 3 pages, trying to get to the point. Honestly, man, I think this one is and I'm gonna try to remember. I'll post it. If you guys really want to know, once the class ends, post a question and I'll reply. But let's go to page. I think this is chapter maybe 9. Anyways, let's read this. Okay, it says hold on. TP's tans, tells, and talls. Only Mexico, the Middle East, the Near East, and Northern India had them. Oh. I think VTC, I don't know if you're still listening, bro. I think you had put a video regarding like the Waboism and how they were showing that our gente was looking like this Portuguese guy wrote a book. As a matter of fact, I do have that. I read it, and it's since Portuguese and Spanish, you can read it. And he does say that our gente were dark skinned like the East Indian, but we had straight hair, not woolly. Anyways, in the ancient Near East, from Turkey down to the Northwest India, people tend to live at the base of large elevated mounds or hills called teepees. At the top of the teepee, there was usually some kind of fortification, including a temple or shrine housing the principal god or goddess of the village below. In many cases, the teepee was also a mine, the shaft being at its base, yada, yada, yada. So this is why you see this page here, okay? For the sake of time, let me just get to it. It's going to continue to this other page, and it's just showing the similarities between those regions and ours, okay? So in Iran, you see the similar names, and you see all these names in Bulgaria. They use teepee as well. The only other place in the world that uses teepee as fortification and religious centers was Mexico. There were hundreds of teepees scattered all over Mexico, such as teepee Agua, teepee Upa, teepee Usted, da 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 da. You see that? Teepee Tlatstock, teepee Tlit, teepee Clit, teepee Tlit. I can't even say it now, man. I was saying it so good earlier. Let me continue before I mess it up. My bad, family. Okay, so now let's go to the next page. So you're seeing this, right? So you'll see it on this chapter if you see the book. Again, ask me. Oh, hold on. Let me read this here. It says, some of the gold mine teepees, such as Sultepec, Sultepec, I'll read it, near Mexico City, continued to produce gold for the Spaniards, just as they had for the Aztecs and the Near Eastern immigrants. Huh. Interesting. All right, here we go. Let me skip down to this part here, okay? So he keeps talking about the similarities in names and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is where it gets interesting, all right? It says, Mexico's most famous teepee, or tepeyac, in Mexico City, thousands of years ago, when the forefather of the Mexican people arrived from northern India. You hear that? Thousands of years ago, when the forefathers of the Mexican people arrived from northern India, they established a shrine to the mother goddess Inan, or Nan, there. Let's, for the sake of reading, again, this guy has a lot of different theories, so I'm not going to put a 100 on it. I just find it interesting. All speculative, right? After they departed or became Amerindians themselves, the Mexicans continued to call their beloved mother goddess Inan, Nan, or Totonatzin, or Nonatzin. The final Tzitzin was a horrific for the goddess, just as if equivalent sin had been back in the Near East and northern India. When the Spaniards arrived, they soon intuited that if they didn't make the Aztec quit worshiping Inan, the country would become more Christianized. I don't want to offend the religious sensitivities of anyone by suggesting that the Spaniards used the Aztec convert, Juan Diego, to help them turn Inan. We read about Zumarraga, what he did, okay? Tonatzin or Nonatzin into the Virgin of Guadalupe. So here's what I'm trying to show you guys. In this book, it says the same thing. For the Mexicans, Inan or Nonatzin had become their most famous ghost, as Inan traveled at night through the countryside, villages and cities of Mexico. Noticing the Mexican poverty and suffering, she cries piously, "Mis hijos, ¿qué les ha pasado a mis hijos? My children. What has happened to my children?" she yells. The mestizo and the white citizens of Mexico, those who have lost all contact with the ancient ways and traditions, will try to convince you that this crying lady or weeping woman, La Llorona, was a French woman who lost her children during the time that the Emperor Maximilian and the French ruled Mexico in the last of the 19th century. But the indigenous tribes knows who is doing all the howling and yowling at night. Their mother, Inan, the ancient mother goddess of the Near East, the India, and Mexico. But again, that's, his suggestion or opinion. Now, I've showed you guys the migrations that I believe we took. I don't find it far-fetched, but again, I don't know if we did bring gods like that this route. Okay, so now let's move on to this book here. This is from, let me see, it's called Tratado Único y Singular de Origen de los Indios de Perú. Okay, this one's in Spanish, but I'm going to get to the point on this one for the sake of time. Check this out. Oh, I think that's it. Okay. Check this out. This is, what year is this book? Let me see. Library of Princeton University, Ivy League book. Colección de los libros raros o curiosos que tratan de América, tomo cuarto, fourth volume. Diego Andrés Rocha, Origen de los Indios, del Perú, México, Santa Fe y Chile, segundo volumen. Deja ver qué años, Dime, güey. Órale. I don't think it's gonna tell me. Oh, 1891, ¿ok? Ya estamos claros, ¿verdad? Ok, vamos bien. Vamos bien. Para que vean, y fíjense. Página 34, número 24, ¿ok? Página 34, número 24. Leamos bien. Dice, tengo también observado para entender que estos americanos, hablamos de los nativos, nuestra gente. I'm going to speak Spanish now for a bit, ¿ok? Principalmente, bueno, nosotros nativos mexicanos, los indígenas, de ellos están hablando ahorita. Principalmente los de México. Ahora, comprendan que la gente en ese tiempo no podía decir la X, para ellos poder pronunciar esta palabra, tuvieron que, pues, incluir la J. Se dice México. También lo puedes decir con la X y en unos casos con la G, ¿ok? Para que todos vean. Descienden de las 10 tribus. Hijo de su madre. Los pródigos que Dios obró con ellos y las señales del cielo que tuvieron significándoles el fin de su monarquía. So let me share that with you. It's saying here clearly, we understood the time of our fall. Entendíamos que iba a venir. Una vez más, dejen leerlo. Los prodigios, profecías, de que Dios obró con ellos y las señales del cielo que tuvieron significándoles el fin de su monarquía y que Dios les entregaba a otras gentes y naciones. Aquí estamos viendo muy bien, hermanos y hermanas, de que entendíamos nosotros que ahí venía el fin de nuestro reino, porque teníamos las escrituras, el tío Motzil, I think that's how you say it. Porque ahí lo dice claramente, ¿no? Deuteronomio 28. Vamos a seguirle. En México, cuando entre el gran capitán Cortés, hold on, let me color this. En México, cuando entre el gran capitán Cortés, se observaron 10 prodigios bien singulares que les indicaba el fin de su monarquía, que podrán verse en el P. Torcomeda, en el libro 2 de su monarquía mexicana, en el capítulo 90. Y, hold on, let me go down. Y entre los pródigos, uno era el oírse de, listen, let me read this, okay? Check this out. This is where it gets interesting. So here's they're saying it again. So we knew, ya sabíamos que iban a invadir estos cabrones, ¿no? Ya sabíamos que iban a invadir estos extranjeros, los conquistadores blancos y conquistadores negros, también los pinches árabes también, ¿no? Entendimos bien esto. Aquí se ve muy claro. Tengo también observado para entender que estos americanos, nosotros por decir, principalmente los de México, descendían de las tribus, de las 10 tribus, los prodigios que Dios obró con ellos y las señales del cielo que tuvieron significándoles el fin de su monarquía y que Dios les entregaba a otras gentes y naciones. Entendemos muy bien, ¿verdad? Ahora fíjense, en México, cuando entre la gran capitán Cortés o el gran capitán Cortés se observaron 10 prodigios bien singulares que les indicaba el fin de su monarquía, que podrán ver en el verso P de Torcomeda, en el libro 2 de su monarquía mexicana, en el capítulo 90. Y entre los prodigios, uno era el oírse, listen, de noche, la voz de una mujer que a grandes voces lloraba la destrucción de sus hijos mexicanos. Ahora, nosotros entendemos desde morrillos, nos decían, oh, la Llorona que mató a sus hijos, que sabe que pico y toda esa madre, ¿no? Pero aquí estamos viendo muy bien que no es cierto eso. Aquí se ve muy claro, leyendo bien claro, de que esto era la verdad, la historia de nosotros. Ahora, fíjate esto, esto mismo sucedió con las 10 tribus antes de su destierro, como consta del libro 4 de Esdras capítulo 9 al fin. Bueno, en este caso es segundo Esdras capítulo 10, second Esdras chapter 10, al fin, donde dice, se le apareció una mujer llorando la destrucción de las tribus y luego, fíjense lo que dice, explicando la visión en el capítulo 10, número 44, dice que esta mujer era Zion, madre de los israelitas y de las tribus que salieron luego desterradas en el capítulo 13, 2 Ezra 13. If you follow this, follow me real quick. Let me move on. I'm going to come back. Don't think I'm going to let it go. No. Al contrario, mon frère. So if you look at 2 Ezra 10, right? 2 Ezra 10, 2 Ezra 9, right? Follow me here. When you look at 2 Ezra 9, or let's say 10, to get to the point, it's talking about the actual, what do you call it? Oh man, what was I going to say? A particular word I wanted to use. Not a migration. What am I looking for? Okay, let me read this again. Let me see if I can remember my thought, okay? Because I'm trying to go from Spanish to English. So keep that in mind. Dice aquí, estos mismos sucedió con las 10 tribus ante su destierro, como consta del libro 4 de Esdras, capítulo 9. Oh, here we go. So there was my point. So if you read chapter 10, right, you're talking about the weeping woman, the destruction, okay? When you read chapter 11 in 2 Ezra, it's talking about now the beast. When you read chapter 12, it's talking about like the eagle. When you read chapter 13, it's talking about a particular person and then the migration of those people. You see, if you follow the chapters, you start kind of seeing things from a macro level, not just, no, you got to expand that family. Don't just think chapter 13. Something happened between chapter 10 and chapter 13. And in chapter 10, it's talking about particular people, that a nation would be destroyed and that there would be this weeping woman. So let's read it. Okay, it says here, 2 Ezra chapter 10. But it happened when my son entered his wedding chamber. Okay, so I'm going to skip this because it's so I don't spend too much time reading the chapter. So here we see that she lost her son. Okay, here we see it when you read this book, when you read this chapter. So then here goes here, verse 3. But when all of them had stopped consoling me, encouraging me to be quiet, I got up in the night and fled and came to this field as you see. And now I intend not to return to the town, but to stay here. I will neither eat nor drink, but will mourn and fast continually until I die. So this mother lost her child in the womb. Okay? So now she's over here like reflecting. Then I broke off the reflection with which I was still angered and answered her in anger and said, now he's responding to this woman. This is Ezra. You most foolish of women, do you not see our mourning and what has happened to us? For Zion, the mother of us all, is in deep grief and great distress. It is more appropriate to mourn now because we all are mourning, and to be sorrowful because we are all sorrowing. You are sorrowing for one son, but we, the whole world, our mother. You see this right here? You see the whole world. That's why it talks about, this is a perfect precept. Remember, he says, John 3:16, and God so beloved the world that he gave his only begotten son, and God so loved the world. Well, which world are we talking about here? The whole world, our mother, meaning Jerusalem. Hello?
Wait a minute.
That's what I'm saying. Now, hold on. Let's continue. Now, ask the earth, and she will tell you that it is she who ought to mourn over so many you have come into being upon her. From the beginning, all have been born of her, and others will come and almost go to perdition, and a multitude of them will come to doom. Who then ought to mourn more, she who lost a great multitude, or you who are grieving for one alone? But again, Ezra's not understanding what he's seeing. Then he says, but if you say to me, my lamentation is not like the earth, for I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth in pain and bore in sorrow. Remember, Revelation is talking about the woman in distress, like about to have a baby. But it is with the earth according to the way of earth. Okay, so now let me get to the point here. So it says here, verse 16. Now, verse 15. Now, therefore, keep your sorrow to yourself and bear bravely the troubles that have come upon you. For if you acknowledge the decree of God to be just, you will receive your son back in due time and will be praised among women. You see this regeneration? But let's continue. Another class with that. Therefore, go into the town and to your husband. And she said to me, I will not do so. I will not go into the city, but I will die here. So I spoke to her again and said, do not do that, but let yourself be persuaded. For how many are the adversaries of Zion? And be consoled because of the Czar of Jerusalem, the mother, the whole world, right? Okay. For you see how our sanctuary has been laid waste, our altars thrown down, our temples destroyed, our harps have been laid low, our songs have been silenced, our rejoicing has been ended, the lights of our lamp has been put out, the ark of our covenant has been plundered, our holy things have been polluted, the name by which we are called has been almost profane, our children have suffered abuse. Did we not read that? Our priests have been burned to death. Did we not read about Sumarraga in other classes, how he made sure to burn all of our so-called priest leaders? Our Levites have gone into exile. Our virgins have been defiled. Our wives have been ravished. Our mighty men have been carried off. Our little ones have been cast out. Nor young men have been enslaved. Our young men have been enslaved. Our strong men made powerless. You see this, and worst of all, the seal of Zion has been deprived of its glory and given over into the hands of those that hate us. So he's telling her, like, just move on. Move on. But hold on a second, verse 25. While I was talking to her, her face suddenly began to shine. But why? Verse 24, therefore shake off your great sadness and lay aside your many sorrows, so that the mighty one may be merciful to you again, and the Most High might give you rest, a respite from your troubles. So then I sees this. While I was talking to her, her face suddenly began to shine exceedingly. Her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too afraid to approach her, and my heart was terrified. While I was wondering what this meant, she suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry, so that the earth shook at the sound. When I looked up, the woman was no longer visible to me, but a city being built in a place of huge foundations showed itself. So see right here, this woman turned into a city. And we see here once again, this is what they're talking about. Let's go back to Spanish. Esto mismo sucedió con las 10 tribus antes de su destierro, which we read, como consta del libro 4 de Esdras, capítulo 9 al fin, donde dice, se le apareció una mujer llorando de la destrucción de las tribus. Y luego explicando la visión en el capítulo 10, número 44, dice que esta mujer era Zion, madre de los israelitas y de las tribus que salieron luego desterradas en el capítulo 13. 2 Esdras 13, 40 through 47. Así en los hebreos como en los americanos, a su acabamiento llora Zion, su madre, porque aún unos y otros habían degenerado a idolatrías, como dice el capítulo 4, versículo 38. So in this book, in case you guys don't know, it's a very heavy book, meaning there's a lot of similarities that they keep bringing up. It's in Spanish. I cannot find it in English in translation. I wish I did, but I can't. But whoever takes the time to look for it, purchase it, or download it, or get it on this type of what do you call it, Google Book, whatever, make sure you read this, because if you go to other pages, I'm not going to read them all, but if you go to other pages, you get to see the interesting thing. I'll give you an example. Let me go back. Look at this. Verse number 23. Watch this. Same book. Considero también aquel lugar del Evangelio de San Mateo, capítulo 15, número 24, donde nuestro Salvador, pidiéndole favor a aquella cananea gentil, le respondió que su venida a este mundo había sido primeramente a restaurar las ovejas que habían perecido del pueblo de Israel. Y el mismo Redentor, nuestro por San Juan, en su Evangelio capítulo 10, número 16, dice que tiene otras ovejas que no son de aquella manada que asistían en Jerusalén y en Judea, y que le convenía traerlos de las partes en que estaban esparcidas, para que oyesen su voz y de todos se hiciesen un rebaño y a todos gobernarse un pastor. ¿Decides? Estas son las ovejas que en el novísimo tiempo ha traído Dios al abrigo y regazo de la Santa Iglesia, como dice arriba capítulo 4 del Deuteronomio. Estos americanos son los que estaban esparcidos por toda la tierra, semilla de las tribus del Señor, a quienes escribió nuestro patrón Santiago en su epístola canónica en el principio diciendo: esta es la gente que estaba esparzada, de quien dijo el apóstol San Pablo en el capítulo 2 de Tesalónicas, capítulo 2, número 4. Dejen leerlo rápidamente. Que no había de venir al día del juicio hasta que viniese la distinción, la dispersión en nuestro idioma, el apartamiento de esta gente. So you see how it's constantly telling you guys something here? These guys even were agreeing because of how it related so much to our history. I mean, look, and you can go on for days on this book here. So what it's talking about here, right? Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. For the sake of time here, I'll read it in the Sefer. Matthew 15, 24, it says, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Yasharah, or Yashu, or it's Yahushua, I believe. No, I need to really think about the pronunciation. My apologies. But that's not all. Let's confirm it real quick. Watch. Romans 11. Even Romans 11 talks about it. Okay? So check this out. Let me see. Where is it? Romans 11? Oh, which one is it? Romans 9, 11? Hold on. Let me see if I can look for it real quick. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I know it's Romans. Hold on. Oh, it's coming. Come on. Let me get it. Let me see. Maybe I can find it with this word. Bear with me. I know it's Romans. Oh. Okay. I'm going to have to go this other route. There's more, but I may be able to find it with this one. Okay. I know it's Romans. Or is it John? I think it's John. That's right. Yeah, what a nerd. Okay, my bad. It was in John. Okay, so it says here, look, check this out. See, even they knew, okay? John 11:47. Then gathered the chief priests and Pharisees a council and said, what do we do? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our places and nations. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, do you know nothing at all? No, consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that whole nation perish not. Check this out. And this spake he not of himself, but being the high priest that year, he prophesied that the Meshiach should die for that nation. Hold on a second. And not for that nation only. What? It says, and not for that nation only. But, okay, hold on a second. Where are you at? Where are you at, bro? Come on. I can't believe I lost it. Okay, here it goes right here. Verse 52. John 11:52. And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. So again, when we talk about what this book is saying, it's a heavy point because we knew that our time was up. but that there was going to be a so-called generation of things, putting us so-called back. Now, that's why, here, let me touch on this real quick, because I'm almost done. This is why you have to really know scripture, so then some foolish dumbasses can't come here and confuse you. Daniel 9:11. Remember, I called Marvelous Channel? The guy tried to say Daniel 9 was the actual explanation of things. Like, no, you're dumb. Let me read it so you guys can actually see it. And you determine for yourselves. Because this is actually saying that the worst of the worst happened around this time. That's in Babylon. Are we not in Babylon again? So what are you saying? Yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing that might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God. See, that's what we knew. That's what we were saying, that we understood our downfall. We had 10 signs, right? Again, here, let's continue. Because we have sinned against him. Verse 12, and he has confirmed with his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For unto the whole heaven had not been done as had been done to Jerusalem. Now, that's why how can I say this? I have it over here already. Do I have it over here? No, right here. So check this out. That's why it's important to really understand the spiritual talk, the why to certain things that we have in our culture. Why? Like, you have to ask yourself, where does that story come from? Well, I started asking, where does that story come from? This is from a book called La Llorona, a spirit unable here, let me go to the first page. Check this out. Neftali de Leon. Interesting, huh? La Llorona, a spirit unable to resist. Or I'm sorry, a spirit, slow down, bro. A spirit unable to rest. Un anime que no descansa. Okay? So let's I haven't bought it, so I'm limited to what I have. But I'm gonna look for it real quick. Give me a second. Here it goes right here. All right. So we're just going to get to this point. It says here, let me make it bigger. All right. So La Llorona, a spirit unable to rest, the background and platform for a modern urban legend. Let's read. When the sun goes down, the moon goes up, and there's a mist in the shadows of the night. If you hear a blood-curdling scream, "Ay, mis hijos!" I could do it better, by the way. I'm just messing around. Close your windows. Shut the door. Don't look out into the night, it says. It's the ghost of La Llorona, looking for her lost children that people say she drowned. Fear strikes us deep in the heart because this floating ghost of a woman, this spirit unable to rest, is roaming the countryside, heartbroken, crying for her children. Did we not read this in right here? Like, did we not see that? A loud cry. While I was talking to her, I'm sorry, 2nd Ezra 10:25. While I was talking to her, her face suddenly began to shine exceedingly. Her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too frightened to approach her, and my heart was terrified. While I was wondering what this meant, she suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry that the earth shook at the sound. Oh, sorry. Right? So we see here, she's floating around as a ghost, the spirit unable to rest, is roaming the countryside, heartbroken, crying for her children. If the Irish and the Celts and the Scots have their banshee ghost woman, and if the German people have Die Wee Fra, the white woman ghost, Korea has creatures such as whatever, and the Philippines has the Manananga, a vampire-like creature, it should not be surprising that the Americans have their own ghost legend, La Llorona. There is a collective subconscious admission that some spirits return from the dead. This story is based on the most iconic legend of Mexican people on both sides of Mexican/United States border, marked for hundreds of miles by millennial rivers called Rio Grande by the U.S. and the Rio Bravo by Mexicans. It's the same river that has called and kept this legend live for over 500 years. Ah, you see this right here? You see what I'm saying? This river between the states of Texas, southern USA, and the north part of Mexico covers more than half of the border between the United States and Mexico, which is nearly 2,000 miles long. Given that many people have drowned or been killed in the historical present conflict between both nations, this river is alive with many ghosts of the spirits unable to rest, supposedly. But let's continue. La Llorona is the story of a spirit that refuses to die. It begins in such a remote antiquity and on such an elaborate platform that has been enhanced its presence rather than diminished. Yes, it has evolved, but it took shape in the cauldron of creation, in the burst of gods and goddesses coming into the beings. This was a time when the Mexica, that's right, pronounced Mexica, and Mesoamerican tribes were establishing their source of origin, their raizón, whatever it is, the how and whence they came to be people. La Llorona came into being along with the myth of creation. The use of the word gods or goddesses because of convention, and because the Mexica people did create powerful representations of their gods, so they say, but their gods were more like states of consciousness, energies that did affect the world and to whom people had to be responsible. These energies could be both creative and destructive. The Mexica or the Nahuatl, by the way, I'm just kind of curious about this. Nahu, Yahu, At. So Nahuatl, Yahu, Nahu. So weird that it's so similar. The Mexica, the Nahuatl speaking people are also known as the Aztecs that built splendorous cities of stone and a majestic scale of persisting wonder. Their predecessors built the colossal cities of Teotihuacan, right outside today's Mexico City. Teotihuacan means where the gods were created, as only gods could have built such a place. The Mexica people gave the name to the country of Mexico and to the Mexican people of today. Their ancient name being Mexicanos. This is where Chicanos, you see that, bro? Mistakenly called Latinos and Hispanics get their name. Their ancestors migrated south from their homeland, Aztlan, right? Aztlan or Aztlan, somewhere in the United States, perhaps in the Utah area, since the roots of native Southwestern languages are called Uti Aztecan today. They gave us products and words that we could speak today, such as chile, tomate, and chocolate. Aztecs are the people from Aztlan. So ask, hey, Wobbles, how come you guys don't know about that? You know what I mean? You're like, whatever. It's a waste of time. Led by their god Huitzilopochtli, hummingbird on the left, the 7 Mexica tribes left their 7 caves, blah, 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 blah. When we heard about this before, okay? So now check this out. Let's see. Let me go to this one. Lady Serpent. Let me go to the point. Let's go Marketplace. This is the one about the so-called drowning, right? With the tag. Okay, here it goes right here. It's right here. I think it is this one. It is said that the La Llorona is the spirit of a woman in eternal search for her children that she drowned. But the tragedy is based on a deeper and historically real continental catastrophe. Okay, so pay attention, family. You see what it's saying? So it says that we know that, La Llorona is like a whole woman that is searching for her kids that they drowned. They made a movie about it. But the tragedy is based on a deeper and historically real continental catastrophe. Cihuacotl was an all-knowing goddess, or like they were saying Inan in the other book. She knew that forces, remember in this one here, El Tratado, right? In this Tratado, they're talking about how we knew that the end was near, right? Dios obró con señales del cielo que tuvieron significándoles el fin de su monarquía y que Dios les entregaba a otra gente y naciones, right? So we're seeing that. So here we see now, but the tragedy is based on a deeper and historically real continental catastrophe. Let's skip this to the point. She knew that forces from other parts of the world would attack the Mexica Empire and bring its destruction. Hers was the first scream in Nahuatl that would cry ay mis hijos. Shortly before Hernán Cortés landed in Veracruz in 1519, the warning anguish cry could already be heard in the kingdom. Oh, Niococon, oh, my children, man. So as you can see, in Aztec Nahuatl, La Llorona becomes Chocani or Chihuachocani, Choca meaning to cry or to weep. Sihuat means woman, the weeping woman. This is why a lot of people envy you. This is why. Because as much as they want to take this history from you, they technically can't. Because spiritually speaking, they can't discern it. Nor can they explain it. In this very same book, it actually talks about the Kivara de la América, Anian. Check this out. It's mentioning on page 72, just to kind of give you a quick glimpse. It says here, y yo lo tengo por muy cierto porque este estrecho viene a ser como antípodo de la Mayeganas, en el cual hay partes tan angostas en latitud que tienen poca más de una lengua de ancho, con que por dicho estrecho de Anián están muy vecinas de las tierras de Asia y de América. Y así por aquí pasaron las tribus, dejando el asiento que tenían de Arsaret y Suanzu y poblaron todas esas tierras de México. Y en me entender, siendo tanto la vecindad de Kibara y que puede computar la región de Arsaret con esta América. So this is what it's talking about right here. Okay, this is what it's talking about right here. Look at this beautiful map. Check this out, family. Hold on a second. Let me make this small. Check this out. So this is from 1587. Let it get cleared up real quick. And I'm going to show you what they're talking about. All right. Very interesting map. It has all the countries here. America. So now let's twist it around here real quick. Here we go. Let's look. It's beautiful, family. And this is what I'm telling you, BHIs, man. How come you guys ignore real facts and stories? Why don't you tell our people exactly where they come from? You see this map right here, family? It says Arsarit right there, okay? Arsarit right there, all right? So we see here India, right? We see India, all right? We see Africa. We see who? Jerusalem, Jerusalem, because that's how they used to say it sometimes, okay? Damascus right here. You see, this is Jerusalem right there. That's what I was saying. We migrated east, not around Africa. We went this way, showed us the passage. And then when we came across here, which is what they're saying, they had to be, because this is Arsarit right here. You see Arsarit? Now, remember this scripture. And again, I don't know. It could be correct or not. I'm not sure, but I won't confirm it. I think it's this one. Hold on. Is this one? Hold on a second here real quick. Is it on? Hold on a second. Let me see if it's here. Where are you at? See. Let's see. Let me see if it's 32. Let me see if I can find it. Provoked jealousy. Oh, I know which one it is. Come on a second. Wow, come on, man. Okay, hold on a second. see if Debs can find it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get it. I need to read this to you guys because it's going to make sense. Here it goes right here. So that's why, again, I don't know. I can't confirm it, but look how it reads, okay? His glory is like the first link of his bullock, and his horns is like the horns of unicorns. With them, he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000 of Ephraim and the 1,000 of Manasseh, Zebulun. He's going to these particular, tribes, right? So it's interesting because he talks about the unicorn with a horn. Anyways, I'm just saying, to the ends of the earth. Now we see Arsareth because we just read it, right? They were talking about Arsareth, okay? And then we also read there in Anian. See this right here? Estrecho de Anian. Están muy vecinas las tierras de Asia y América, y por aquí pasaron las tribus dejando el asiento que tenían en Arsareth y en Suansu, y poblaron todas estas tierras. So here we see, where are you? Oh. Here we see this. The streets de Anian. You see how thin they were. So they're saying they had to pass through here, which is where they were dwelling in Arsareth, and Suansa, meaning like this region right here, as they were crossing. And when they crossed over, they had to cross over because it's not that wide. See what I'm saying? That's why it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when you start reading this book and you start really paying attention. And not only do you just read because other people are reading and you think, no, like you actually do your own homework. Like you really, really try to study and really, really absorb this. Not to know more than others, but for your own spiritual sake. Because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it because I'm learning and I'm showing you guys. You should see if some people can relate to what I'm finding. And if, you still got to figure it out yourself. Isaiah 47:6, it says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into the hands. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancients, thou hast very heavily laid thy yoke. Deuteronomy 28:50. They had no reference for the elders, nor our young women or our children. And thou said it, I shall be a lady forever. And that's what this nation's about. They like this nation, like the Statue of Liberty, so that thou didst lay these things to thy heart. Neither did it remember the latter end of it. So then now, since Jerusalem is the woman, the MESHIACHA, so to speak, right? Now they're the women. Now they're the lady. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, fornication, adultery, body count, homosexuality, pedophilia, y'all name it, you got it. The other alphabet team. Christianity, BHIs, Freemasonry, Kabbalism, all of it. The constant murder that's going on in Palestine, and everybody's just like, whatever. Just let me live my life. I need to pay my bills. The F with them. Yeah, you're the salt of the earth, huh? It says that thou said it, I shall be a lady forever. So that thou didst not lay things. Let me read it this way. So I could, because we're always trying to get away from certain things too, right? So let's read it this way. It says here, I was angry with my people. I put shame on my heritage and gave them into your hands. You had no mercy on them. You put a cruel yoke on those who were old. And you said, I will be a queen forever. You see this? So now they're the woman. You did not give attention to these things and did not keep in mind what would come after. No. Why do you think they are the way they are? I'm going to show you some videos at the end so you can see. So now take note of this. You who are given to pleasures, living without fear of evil, because that's all we see now. What are we looking at? Same-sex marriage, high divorce rate, high abortion rate, high drug rate, high alcohol rate, high murder rate, war after war after war, processed foods, neglected children, neglected elders, saying in your heart, I am, and there is no one like me. I will never be a widow. I have my children taken or have my children taken from me, because that's what they did. Because that's exactly what they did to us. That's why I'm talking about the Llorona. That's the weeping woman, the Meshicas. the entire nation of our gente. That's exactly what that Llorona story comes from, family. Don't let it be confusing. Don't let nobody else confuse you. Saying in their heart, I am, and there is no one like me. I will never be a widow or have my children taken from me. Then it says, but these two things will come unto you suddenly in one day. The loss of children and of husbands. In full measure will they come on you. For all your secret arts and all your wonders, secret arts, Freemasonry, Kabbalah, all that magic stuff going around in the back end. Sodomy is technically related to that. That's why they believe in Baphomet, androgynous, he, she type of concept. That next class I got going on, I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. Full measure. The loss of children. Now they're complaining because they're not producing. For you had faith in your evil doings. You said, no one sees me. But your wisdom and knowledge, which is the tree of good and evil, you have been turned out of the way. And you have said in your heart, I am, and there is no other. So it says, because of this, evil will come on you. So this is why, family, don't envy them. Freemasons, Druids, Kabbalah, BHI, Christians, all that, scientific, Sephirah, the Baphomet, Saint Germain, God loves America. Don't even trip on that, family. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna read it in this translation. We're almost done. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Because it's important that you understand how our Father looks at us. He looks at us and how you're supposed to look at him. This is why it is as important to study as it is to repent. And it is as important to not have any envy. It is very important. Remember the scales, the class I did on the scales concept. Watch this. 2 Ezra 2:28. The nations shall envy you. Who wants to be a Mexican now? Who wants to be an Aztec? Who wants to be a Maya? But yeah, right? But shall not be able to do anything against you. My power will protect you so that your children will not see hell. Me personally, I kind of am looking forward to that. Because I get tired of seeing this. Me personally, I get tired of seeing this. We're getting attacked from different avenues. And obviously, when you have people that are weak in spirit, it leads them to believe that they're correct. Lets them to think that they're correct. Right? Watch this real quick. Let me show you something. This is from... Is it this one? Yeah. This is from this book called The Lost Slaves. Wabos like to write this. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is because they're very quick to bring this out. Okay? You see our native brothers, right? In 1830, Andrew Jackson implemented the Indian Removal Act, forcing the slave-owning Cherokee, Chickasaw, and Choctaw and Seminole Indians to give up their land east of Mississippi River. You see how this Wabo here wants to justify the taking? Oh, because you own slaves. And I'm assuming he thinks they're black. The Indian tribe called 800-mile journey west to the Trial of Tears because of its devastating effect. The Cherokee National Party, led by their chief, John Ross, was forced to sign the Treaty of the Echota, 1835, which relocated the Cherokee nations out of Georgia. Many Cherokee, including slaves, died 3,000 to 4,000 during the forced at gunpoint migration. I'm showing you this for a purpose. Indian slave owners. So he says, in the late 1800s, the melanated mixed Austro-Asian Creek, Cherokee, Seminole, and Choctaw tribes owned so-called African American slaves. Really?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
How convenient, huh? How convenient that that all of a sudden, you just mentioned that Negroes were enslaved, but nowhere in this book does he say that Negroes had slaves. In 1833 census, which I have a book about 1833, that shows a plethora of Negro slave owners. You lying sack of shit. In 1833 census indicated that the Creek Indians had a population of 22,694 with 902 slaves. The Cherokee Indians had a population at the time of 16,000 and 1,600 slaves, so to speak. They believed they were racially superior to the slaves, and some believed treated them worse than the European Americans. Avengers actor Don Shield answered were owned by Chickasaw Indians. You see this shit? The Church began in 1838. Implemented Indians included their own slaves, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? Let me show you something real quick. Don't be fooled, family. Don't be fooled by idiots like these people. That's the last thing I want you guys to be fooled by. Okay? Straight up. Straight up. Look at this right here. All right? So let's kind of I'm not going to dissect too much. You guys already know about this book. Okay? It's written in Free Negro Owners of Slaves in the United States, 1830. Free Negro Owners of Slaves. Free Negro Owners of Slaves. Let me say it again. Free Negro Owners of Slaves. Okay? Okay? See this right here? Look. All of those people are slave owners, and all those numbers are slaves. Every single one of them. And those people with names, those are not white people. Those are Negroes. Okay? 54. 60 total Negro. Slavers. This Negro had 60 total slaves. Or Black American or Black, whatever you want to call yourself. You guys are so eloquently and so simplistically and so, how can I say this, arrogantly using material to say stuff like this. Do your own research. You damn right I did my own research. You damn piece of shit. I did my own research and I found out you're a lying sack of shit. That's what I found out. And you guys want me to be okay with it? Maybe you guys are okay with it. I'm not okay with it. Why am I supposed to be okay with it? So all of a sudden, oh, sorry, we raped them. Oh, well. Is that how it goes? Look at this right here. And then the audacity. Yep, your favorite word. Some African Americans today believe the tribes of Black Indians already existed before the slavery in America. You see this stupid shit right here? They believe the Negroes were never shipped on ships. This was already debunked. The guy could look Samoan, you know that? But hey, whatever, right? It also believed that the Olmecs built the Inca pyramids and not that migrating Spanish rape. Let me slow down here. You see what I'm saying, family? It is also believed, these Negroes here believe that the Olmecs built the Inca pyramids and not the migrating Spanish raped Austronesians. You see this insult? You see this insult right here? You see what I mean by envious people? Envious people, because they know how rich your history is. They know how beautiful it is and how fundamentally sound compared to theirs shows. And historically speaking, we also can see the migration and the scattering. Unlike what other people tell you that you went around Africa. No, we're seeing that. No, we have a lot of similarities. Have you guys ever heard of voladores? I don't know if you know this, but in India, they have the same concept. Okay? Yeah, look it up. But this is what I do see.
According to linguists, we're the only people left in the United States who generally still sound like our ancestors.
Pay attention.
Because if you listen to native-born Southern speakers, the average Southerner tends to sound more like this, what we call this Moonlight Magnolia's drawl. Because if you speed up that Southern drawl, over time it rapidly becomes a British accent. Most people don't realize that people that came here from Europe were largely from the United Kingdom. So when they got here, this was more along the lines of their speaking tones. But that's the first and second generations coming off the boats, not their children. By the third and fourth generations, the kids don't quite sound like mum and dad anymore because they're starting to develop a slight elongation of the way they talk. What's today called the Virginia Tidewater accent. It's not a complete southern drawl because that's a port area. But as you go farther into the southern interior and the years progress, the accent tends to get thicker, deeper, richer by Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia. Heck yeah, you got to put it on southern drawl. But people don't realize that in most cases in Louisiana, many of the native speakers don't sound like that. They tend to sound like this, I guarantee, especially around the bayous. Because you speed up that South Louisiana Cajun Creole accent, over time it becomes en français, French. With, of course, certain exceptions in New Orleans, which tend to sound like more like New Yorkers because of the Irish and the Sicilian Italian influence. So they tend to sound a bit more like this. And people tend to get a little confused because they think, what, you from New York? Nah, I'm from New Orleans. What?
Now you see how language also is important, and you need to pay attention to these people. By the way, VTC, man, great video, bro. I thought it was awesome because you see the lengua como cambia, and now you know how come you talk like that, Southern people. Matter of fact, now you can actually ask yourself. Now you know how it says this whole Swati or Aboriginal, originally to the copper colored people, but now it's labeled to the children of Europeans, right? And they're like, oh yeah, those are you Hispanic Asians. No, we've proven that Negros came out of Europe. Maybe what it's saying is actually that you Europeans, black and white, now want to call yourselves natives. Too much proof, but a lot of ignorance. Let's continue.
They never had a pretty girl from Joburg to me now, and that's what they prefer. I don't touch no wheel cause I got a chauffeur. First class, how I get around the world. Just miss me with the drama, unless you call me with the commas. Or DJ turn the sound up, cause we about to pour the rounds up. From Jersey to Ibiza.
See, look at the beats. All right, they're looking good, huh? 30 years after, bro. Come on, man. If you're telling me you're completely uncivilized and now all of a sudden you figured yourself out, get your ass out of here with that. Hey, let's continue with this. And by the way, this is complete racism. When you're trying to cause erasure, trying to cause this whole friction and claiming that you're from somewhere that you're not, it's called basically racism. And I don't know what you think, like, oh, man, I don't have the authority to be racist. Yeah, you motherfuckers do, actually. Excuse my French. Because right now, one of our brothers and sisters, actually several of our brothers and sisters are arrested, right? The Justice 8. They're arrested because a person that looks just like you is involved in some little, secret little plan going on with the county and the city. Yeah, I said it. But again, it's speculation, right? Let's continue.
The way they tell you about slavery, no, we was not in slavery. No, that's not true. That's not true. Because we was killing their ass. Some of us was in slavery. They were kidnappers and put in slavery. But for the most part, most of us was not slaves. We were not slaves. This is what they tell you. This is what they tell you. That you was nothing but a slave, but they lied to you. You are a very, melanated people in America is a very powerful race. This is why they lie to you and constantly lie to you. Everybody know their truth, but melanated people, now we starting to figure out our truth, but nobody have told us our truth. Now it's melanated people waking up and they putting that truth out there because you need to know that. Abraham Lincoln did not give you your freedom. The Gullah, the Geechees, that's how you got your freedom. You got it from the Gullah warriors, which was Aboriginal people.
Just my thought.
Okay. Just because you lie don't make you right. I mean, where's your diet? How come you don't know nothing about this food? Why are you lactose intolerant? This is mostly what we eat here. Let me kind of remind you guys of this before we go. Okay. These are stories of the Llorona, so let's kind of just touch on it because I'm about to finish. One of them was the flame, a tongue of fire appeared in the heavens of the east, blah, 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 blah. The other one said the temple of God at Huitzilopochtli. Hold on. Huitzilopochtli Huitzilopochtli, I think I'm saying it right, mysteriously caught fire. I've been practicing, by the way. Lightning struck the temple of Huitzilopochtli. Huitzilopochtli. I think I'm saying it right. The god of fire. And I'm also trying to learn some Hebrew, but again, I'm really not well at. I'm learning. Anyway, let's continue. A comet with a tremendous flame tails traveled from west to east. And by the way, the reason I mention that is because I'm finding similarities. Okay, that's all. Number 5, the waters of Lake Texcoco became agitated and flooded many of the Aztec houses. Number 6, a woman cried out. Here it goes. A woman cried out at night, "Oh, my beloved sons, now we're about to go." You see that right there. Now we're about to go. So this is regarding the whole, where you at? The prophecy of the crime woman. Here it goes right here, family. And then we're almost done. It says, the 6th omen is about a woman who tells people they must flee the region. It sounds like a prophetic vision of the imminent destruction threatening the Aztecs. But there's no historical accounts of this incident either. Really? We're reading it right here. In case you guys missed it, this is on the Tratados Únicos y Singular Origen de los Indios. Here it says again on number 4, tengo también observado para entender que estos americanos, principalmente de los de México, descienden de las 10 tribus. Los prodigios de Dios con obra con ellos y las señales del cielo que tuvieron significándoles el fin de su monarquía y que Dios les entregaba a otras gentes y naciones. You see this? We're seeing this here. It says here, the 6th omen is a woman who tells people they must flee the region. It sounds like a prophetic vision of the imminent destruction threatening the Aztecs, but there's no historical accounts of this incident. Well, that's a lie because we read it here. And as a matter of fact, they continue on saying that it relates to 2nd Esdras right here. Este mismo sucedió con las 10 tribus antes del destierro, como consta del libro 4 de Esdras, capítulo 9, al fin donde dice, se le apareció una mujer llorando la destrucción de las tribus y luego explicándole la visión en el capítulo 10, número 44, dice que esta mujer era Zion, madre de los israelitas y de las tribus que salieron luego salieron luego desterradas. Once again, in contemporary Mexico, the association persists of the crying woman, La Llorona, often heard at night, the bad tidings. There appears to be a confusion of the attribute of the Llorona and those of the mother of the Mexica gods, Cujicuatl. This goddess was sometimes depicted in the codices as weeping, and the melting of the attributes of the weeping woman. With this melancholy goddess may explain why the Mexica bestows such a woman with predictive powers. This fusion of mortal and deity is represented into the Florentine Codex number 2. Now, remember, family, this is why the Most High also gave us this understanding with wisdom. We have to treat it like a woman because we do have respect for a woman. That whole machismo shit, like I told you, was brought to us by these people once again, like other interpretations that don't belong to us. Spiritually speaking, we know who these bastards are. And we also know who the other ones are. But, for some reason, I tend to offend people here because I speak truth. Because I'm calling them out for what they are. So let me go ahead and show you guys some interesting videos and then we'll call it a day, man. Call it a day. Because I'm going to show you this real quick. Watch this real quick. All right? Listen in.
I don't know if Americans are genuinely confused or they're just thick, because this blew my mind. And if you're not American, this will probably blow your mind too. So I'm from England, right? But most English people are usually white, just like Americans are usually white too, okay? Keep that in mind, this is very important. As you can see from looking at my skin, I am not just white, I have black in me, which means I come from African descent. To be more specific, Ghanaian descent. Keep this in mind. I was outside in America and I seen a fellow melanin brother. Now, when I'm looking at melanin people, I can usually tell what part of Africa you are from your features. And I saw this brother that I thought might have been Ghanaian too. Big up my Ghana brothers, by the way. But was I so wrong? So I proceeded to ask, yo, bro, what part of Africa are you from? He said, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I was like, oh, word, but like, where are your parents from? Atlanta, Georgia. So what about your grandparents? Atlanta, Georgia.
Because they are stupid ass. to understand. Like, why is he literally yelling at the phone like an effeminate female? Thousands of years ago, they traveled from Africa to the Americas and then mixed with the East Asians who came over through the Bering Strait or whatever. But they're black aboriginals to America. So
that how they called you guys or us East Asians? I'm telling you, family, stop believing the hype, man.
hard to understand. Like, why is he literally yelling at the phone like an effeminate female? Thousands of years ago, they traveled from Africa to the Americas and then mixed with the East Asians who came over through the Bering Strait or whatever. But they're black aboriginals to America. So why is he confused, thinking that everybody with some dark skin has to be from Africa? All right,
Atlanta, Georgia, son. So you're telling me that you're not from Africa, but your skin is saying otherwise. Yep, proud African American, straight out of Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. And before I could ask him any more questions, brother, I answered it for myself. These people genuinely think that African Americans.
We are an ethnic group, you fake ass crisscross wannabe ass bastard. What are you talking about, bro?
Okay, so there's Africans who don't like being called African. They identify with their tribe and whatever country they're from, but we're supposed to acknowledge that they're separate races of people, right? A Sudanese is different from a Somali, and don't get me started about them South Africans and the beef they got with the Kenyans. So how is it that you have multiple races of people on the continent of Africa, but you believe that every person with melanin comes from Africa? I can't wrap my head around this. I just can't wrap my head around this at all.
So apparently they have created an entirely new race. They are not Africans. I'm going to tell you where this stupidity comes from. I'm going to show you some history. And I don't say stuff and just say it. I actually have books and material and articles to prove it. This dude has brought this out, but I actually found the article. I just can't find it under the way I saved it. It says here, message to the black man by an Asian looking dude, by the way. Okay. It says, page 15. The characteristic of Muhammad's teachings is that he never, as Garvey and others did before him, preach back to Africa. Doctrines as the salvation of the American, quote unquote, so-called Negro. Muhammad says America is not the white man's home. He belongs in Europe and by force took America from our Asiatic brothers, the Indians. Oh, how convenient, you bastard. We have as much right to this soil as the white man. Why should we claim the land of our black brothers in Africa, for which we have given his life and labor? It belongs to him. Our destiny, he points out, is right here in America. Yeah. Now you understand why they love you. They hate everything good about you, but they love everything good about you. You can't have it both. You can't have it both ways in their world. That's how they say it. Can't have it both ways now, can we? Now, one perspective. Let's listen to these other ones here. These salty ass bastards right here. Look at the stupidity. Let's this out. Remember, family, hey, this is all for educational purposes to strengthen your spirit, that when you hear people talk this way, don't be offended, man. Stay above the ground. Look at them in such a pitiful manner. Because if you are a child of our Father, you got nothing to worry about as long as you are studying as much as you are repenting. Let's continue.
Truck, I'll take care of the border. Don't need no border patrol. No. I go to South Africa, get the meanest crocodiles, about 100,000 of them, all the most poisonous snakes, the rhinos. Put them in that river. See who crosses that border. I agree with that. I told Daddy Truck.
You see, I agree with that. So they want to feed us to animals because they consider you guys animals. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, fam, my bad if I wasn't. I told you guys initially I was going to focus on getting this class done. I didn't want to get distracted. So, shalom to everybody, man. Whoever's here, whoever's watching. I said shalom to the first people. I'm going to show you guys a video now, and then I will call it. I'm not. I'm just kidding, family. Sorry. All right, so here's the deal. This live here that you saw just now was a live that I did a year and I believe a half ago. YouTube blocked it. I did not know that. So for a year and a half, only people that saw it then never got to see it again. Now I disputed the action, and apparently they are going to erase it, but it's going to take several days to get through. So I'm like, you know what I'm doing is I'm going through my videos that have been blocked by YouTube in order for me to show you guys, what has been missing. Okay. I wanted to kind of show you this here too. Now, since we're here, give me a moment. I look again. This book, this guy, Larry Fitzgerald, he's claiming that the history came from the Americas to the other continent. Obviously, we don't agree with that. Some people do, but again, like, and I've told brothers, there's some holes in what you're saying, because then you have to wonder, what about Rome? What about all the kingdoms? What about, where's the Ur of the Chaldees? You know what I'm saying? Where are all of these wars that India talked about from 5,000 years ago, like the Zoroastrians and the Vedas and like there's all of this history that if we just believe that this was the old world, then damn, bro, like what the fuck do we do with that? So I don't subscribe to it. However, this book here, it's heavy duty. Matter of fact, let me show you. Watch this real quick. If you go to page, here goes chapter 3. We're gonna look at some of the similarities. And again, look, I let everybody know. Y'all, if you guys feel froggy to prove or claim otherwise of what I'm bringing out, then hey man, there's a fucking link right there. There's the link right there. Hit the link and defend your cause. And see, the reason why you guys show up to my channel and just make dumbass comments, and you think you're gonna get far by laughing and by calling people spick and spelling it different, like if it's gonna make a difference. Spick, beaner, wetbag, illegal alien is no different than somebody calling you a nigger, and that's a fucking fact. Now, when somebody calls you guys those words, y'all get really offended, and all of a sudden, racism is cried out loud. But when you say spicks, that fucking doesn't matter all of a sudden. Like, that don't make you like the white man that calls you that shit. See, you're low level, man. That's the thing about you. See, you're low level. That's it. Look, literally all you damn Mexicans that I talk to don't like that, though they so-called indigenous features. They want to. Okay, you know how many Negroes I know that don't want to be Negroes, man? They want to be white like you. You know how many white folks want to be black? You know how many Asians want to be some other fucking nation? Everybody has these idiots, man. That don't mean shit to me at all. The fucking question is this: do you belong to this book? Yes or no? And if you do, prove it. And are you original from these lands? If you are, then hit the fucking link and prove to me the question that I have for you. When the fuck did Negroes eat grasshoppers here in the Americas? When have Negroes here in the Americas ever been known of eating grasshoppers? You let me know when you have an answer, kid, because all you guys do is this. You see, listen, let me tell you something about this channel. This is the only channel that all of you guys run from. FBA, BHI, Christmas Christians, all of you run from this channel. That's why you never hear me go or even get invited to some other person's channel. Nobody wants to debate me. You want to know why? Because for the most part, you're going to have to speak Spanish too. That's already a dead ringer right there. Because I have books in Spanish and English to justify what I know. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's one. On top of the fact that I don't come with your generic, let's debate about. No, man. I come from some other area. So, for example, you can't answer me when y'all ate grasshoppers here, okay? Another example. Coriander is in the Bible, okay? Now, coriander is the seed of the cilantro. When the fuck have you guys ever been known to even mince with those concepts? Unleavened bread. Do you know that that's masa? When have you heard of negros even being familiar with masa? When? Shit, we can even do fringes. When have we known of you guys using millstones, like what we call comales here in the Americas, which is exactly the same that they use, or the pictures that reflect in Egypt? Did you know that carne asada is in the Bible? Did you know that? Did you know, oh, by the way, corn is in the Bible? And who predominantly handles the corn? Now, are you going to say that we stole your history somehow? And here's the funny part. Here's where I laugh at you. And here's why you even sound even weaker, bro, because you're still here. You're still here typing shit. And this is how weak you are, because you're not even willing to defend your cause. Stand up on your shit. Defend your shit. This is not even being disrespectful. This is just like somebody that claims to be something. Defend your cause, or if not, shut the fuck up. You see, this means nothing. Matter of fact, it even damages you, because you're realizing you might have been getting away with your comments with some other channels. I don't know how people deal with that shit. You ain't dealing with you're dealing with a Meshicha, a Hebrew. You understand? That's totally different. I'm not one of those people, man. Beans is in the Bible. Lentils is in the Bible. Ceviche is in the Bible. Cucumbers, garlic, leeks, melons, onions is in the Bible. The farming system that we have always implemented is in the Bible. Shit, man, tamarindo is in the Bible. You don't even know what that is. And by the way, turkey's in the Bible as well. It's just amazing to me that you guys go by pictures and assumptions and some old dumbass video from this fucking white old man that admitted himself that he didn't say that they were black. And you want to know something? I grew up around Samoans. Those look Samoanish to me. How come nobody ever says that? Nobody ever argues about, oh, they look Samoan. No, they got to be black. But yet these stones also have flat heads. So what are you saying? You have a flat head? Y'all have flat heads? Yeah. I'm gonna play this video, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And this guy here, he's like, and this guy here, I have respect for him as a person. You know why? Because he cares for his people. He teaches what he knows, right? And he debunks you idiots all the time. Hey, look what he says. Next time y'all gonna claim that modelo and mariachi in the Bible. Matter of fact, the instruments of mariachi is in the Bible, you fuckface.
That's gonna hurt.
The Bible talks about certain people having long hair, goat's hair. David had goat's hair. Solomon had goat's hair. The sister that wiped the Messiah's feet had goats that had long, straight hair. What are you talking about? I don't even Songs of Solomon. It's talking about having a complexion. This woman is out there in the sun. That's what she's saying. She's darker. Y'all already dark. You don't get tanned. The fuck you talking about? It's just easy, dude. You're easy to debunk, and that's the sad part. Listen to this.
With the silver hair, that's Alexander von Wooten. They're all in this area looking at his quote unquote private collection of artifacts, right? And they're discussing these artifacts. You got Ivan right there, if you can see from a distance. Ivan's from a distance too. So like I said, I'm gonna try to stop this video because I don't want to get in trouble for copyright.
In ancient America, many of you have not had the opportunity to examine closely at leisure.
I have that video in length. I couldn't find it, honestly. I really didn't search for it. Let me just be frank. I didn't search for it, but I have the video. So cuando lo encuentre, yo se los voy a enseñar. Let's go.
All the pieces in that collection. It is a priceless collection, and many of you have raised the question which must be pursued. What will happen when von Wutenow, who is now 84, dies?
Okay, so again, von Wooten, okay, this is all based on von Wouten's collection.
And you know what's so funny, family? This is like it's a very typical, man. And it's like rudimentary shit's what I call it. Y'all always go to, what about the Olmec cats? What about the Olmec cats? Okay. I have the book. I know you probably can't afford that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I have the book. And in that book, it has these pictures too. Okay? Does that look like you? Does that look like a so-called African? Does that look like a so-called African? That's in the book. That's in the book. That's in the book. That's in Von Wouten's book. I have the book, family. You know that. I've showed it to you guys. What about these features? Oh, you're gonna point maybe that one out? You see, this is silly to me. Like it's like you see a chain, a gold chain, and that's all you fucking see. You don't see nothing else. Not the fact that that gold chain belongs to someone else, or that there's a fucking knife ready to fall on your ass if you grab it. No. You're like in awe by this gold chain or this Olmec picture, and you base your shit just like Christmas Christians do when they run to John 3:16. You're believing the same thing. What about all of these other stones? What about these features here of those stones? What about that stone right there? Mira, güey. Ahí está. What are you talking about, man? Look at that. Are you saying to me that this looks like you? You telling me this is you? You telling me this is you? You telling me this is you? You have a flat head like that? Y'all always make fun of our people with the phenotype. So this is you. No, this ain't you. And that's the sad part. And I got many more books. Many more pictures specifically from this book. You know, and I remember even saying to you guys that I was going to go through like a series, like a class of just showing you guys all the pictures, because the book is predominantly, right? Predominantly, the book is basically pictures, fam. It says things, but it says also that also. Oh, by the way, Van Wouten, right? This is a white dude that also claims that white people were here before too. How come these people who claim to be us don't ever mention that? Because that's what Van Wouten says too in that book. Seriously. And in other books that I read, that they actually use him as a source. They say, "Oh, the Vikings were here." Really? It's ridiculous. You're only looking at the little gold chain and shit, and you're just completely ignoring everything else around it. All of these pictures and statues and recordings. Like, what the hell is this? ¿Se parece un negro como tú, o qué? What about those features? ¿A poco eso es un negro como tú, güey? A ver, cabrón, ¿qué onda? Is that you? Are you saying this is you guys now? There are more statues with these features than the Olmec heads. How come y'all never bring this shit out? Huh? This is Van Wouten's book, by the way. Like I told you. Look, is that you guys? You serious? That's you? Does that look like an African American man? Look at that, fam. Does that look like an African American man? No, look at his beard. His beard is like straight, like my beard, like Job, like Job's beard. He's got beard like you, like long, straight. You see what I'm saying? And look at his nose. What are you talking about? Oh, I see now. All of a sudden, all I hear is crickets. It's all I hear now. Crickets. right? It's like, you know what? Look at this. This is in Van Wouten's book too. The same one that you reference, Olmec heads. The same one that the brother, I'm gonna call him a brother, even though we may not be of the same root, but he's a brother because at least he's honest. At least he's fucking honest. And he goes and does his research. And I can respect that. As a person, man, woman, whatever, as a person, you can respect this because he shows you proof. He's not just going by, hey, look at that stone, because that's what you're using.
All right. I'm going to fast forward this tape here, and Von Wooten is going to talk for himself about these Olmec collection faces.
Because the likelihood is,
hang on,
is that all of these marvelous pieces which we have seen, a catalog of everything he has. Negroid, was it paint?
Oh, here we go. Sorry. I got to chop this up. This is Alexander Von Wooten explaining to these Negroes that they're not Negroes. They painted themselves black. He's showing you with his hand gestures right here, but let me see if I can back this up.
And his features are Totonac. They are not Negroid.
His features are totally dark. He is not Negroid. He said this way back in the day, and somebody in that room thought that he said that they were Negroes. And that's where all of this misconception came from, right out of this room.
But they paint them with chapapote.
They paint them faces with the charcoal. You read this in history. The natives painted themselves all the time with paint.
So it is a warrior who is black.
They painted themselves to look like a warrior that is black. They're not black people. Don't confuse black people with black paint is what we're talking about, family.
That is also an atavismo because they knew that the Olmecs were black. You say that the Olmec people themselves were black? No.
No. Look at the brother in the back. So you saying that the Olmec people were black? He said no. He said no. Did y'all hear that? He said no. Let me keep going here.
The proofs I have. This is a figure made that is between the Olmecan period and the Totonacan period, transition period. And this is an Olmec sculpture, and to be black, they covered it with tar.
To be black, you understand? To be black, they covered their faces with tar, is what this man is saying. They're not saying that they were Negro. They have Negro features based on the painting of themselves. That's why they have these features, is because of the paint, is what he's trying to explain to these brothers and sisters back in the 1900s.
You see, it's a stone head, but it's covered with this tar.
The stone head covered with tar.
So not only the features and the thick lips come out, primitive, but it is made black.
It is made black. They made them look that way. All right? That's what we're talking about, family. Okay? So Ivan got this all wrong. Okay? Ivan took that information, wrote a book called They Came Before Columbus, The African Presence in Ancient America. Like I said, this is before DNA technology came out.
And I mean, we already know about even Ivan Sertima. I've showed you guys some books about him. This is the interesting part, right? Like they totally forget about this design right here. What about this? Does that look like a West African?
No,
it's not. It's not. And these are what we see. Look at those features. Do they look Africans to you? You guys quoting Ivan Sertima, and he's literally depicting other people here that don't look like you. Like this is in there, family. You understand what I'm saying? This is in that book that these people love to reference and fucking hug and like and hump even at times. Look, see, smallpox. Who suffered from smallpox? We did. The Bible said that that would happen to the Israelites from strangers from afar with a different language. Who brought smallpox? You guys did. The Europeans brought what they called French pox and other sexual diseases. But you guys brought that other one, smallpox, and it was an endemic disease, mostly in West Africa, Sierra Leone, and I can prove it with documentation. See, we don't make stuff up here just because we want to sound or we're angry at people. No, not at all. We study, and I say we because of the people that listen to this channel, because they appreciate what I do, because they also read. They may not read as much, or maybe they read a lot more, or maybe they can't do it all the time. But guess what? I know that they take the time to listen through it, because sometimes they'll post on my channel and they're like, hey, look, at this time this and at this time that. I'm like, oh man, oh, thank you, Father, because at least my work doesn't come in vain. Look, what about these pictures? How come you guys don't take this at all for consideration? You reference him all the time. This is in that book, fam. See, this is the reason why I wanted to take like a lot of pictures of it's hold on. Give me a second. I was looking for the book. I wanted to see how many pages it has. But I've been moving my books around. I need to get organized again. I usually have it in order, but damn, I need to fix it. Anyways, so as you can see, I was going to show you as how many pictures it had. So, and as you can see, it's all about mostly pictures, right? Again, who got smallpox? We did, not you guys. Look at these. Look at these right here. They don't look Africans. FBA, Wabos, Culomiados. What the fuck is this? What is this? So we just ignore it now because you guys are feeling insecure about who you guys are? And we're just, oh yeah, poor blacks. They've suffered so much. Fuck no. Y'all came with the white man, bro, and enslaved our people. You earned your freedom through conquering by helping them. You held dependent at every single fucking stop. And now you want to come here and try to tell us some other bullshit because John 3:16 kicked in your head? And what I mean by John 3:16 is because you use a picture of an Olmec and that was enough to make you believe a lie? Well, what about the rest of these fucking, statues that we have here? See, all of a sudden, right? They put this and that, but we're looking at all these other statues, bro. So it's like they purposely are, attempting. And by the way, keep in mind that who has the power of media, right? You know it, the Khazars, and we know Khazars love to work with Canaan. See, so then they thrive on these pictures right here, like they thrive on that, and that could be anybody, fam. That doesn't necessarily mean true. That could be an Asian person. That could be a islander. That could be Mexican. That could be a black person. You know what I'm saying? Like that's without. That could be somebody from India, somebody from Australia, maybe. You know what I mean? So it's like, nah. But all of these other ones are ignored. What about this? And that? See, he looks like one of them, like Mulan type of warriors and shit from Asia. You see that? So again, I haven't taken pictures of every single page, but this is basically what it's mostly showing. It shows you the pictures, referencing the picture, and we can see that the majority of the pictures do not depict anybody from Africa. Do you see this at all? Zero. If you compare all the statues that you find in the Americas to the statues that look like quote unquote African or Africanoid, it's a very small percent, like fucking 5%, fam. For real. 5%. Like, come on, my DNA fucking splits that in 1% each, supposedly that I'm from some other region. That means nothing. Do you see that when you look at the totality of it all, they have nothing. This is Von Wooten's book. The majority of the pictures are not Africanoid, fam. The majority of the pictures are basically these right here. Once again, you can fact check me. I'm even stretching it. 5% maybe of the items that have been found in the Americas that even reference Africanoids or even white folks is maybe 5% maybe. So when I say that you need to be mindful of what you do when you come to this channel and assume things about us, no, this is a different level, man. Going back to this book again, Greater Exodus, it says, we may now take a glance at the names of the legends similar to those in the Hebrew records, which are found among the primitive people in that part of the globe, which is now called America. In the mountains which run along the west of two Americas from Peru to Alaska and dotted in the plains in the east of these, there are and have been primitive races who cherish traditions, legends, and names very similar to those which we find in the Hebrew records. That's not me saying it. These are scholars. These are people that study, fam. You know what I'm saying? This is not someone like me. They went through the education. They even actually been around some of our people to determine this shit. The authentic proofs of this statement are so numerous that they could not be got within the compass of such a small and unpretending book as this. Damn, that's fire right there. So basically saying, like, what I do here on my channel is, man, I have so much proof. I look at my books that I have, my PDF books on my iBook, because my iPhone, I have iPhone. That's why I keep iPhones. The only reason I have an iPhone is because my books. That's why. If it wasn't because of that, I would have had another type of, I think maybe Android. I like Android for the most part. But it's because of the books. I'm not even in like 20% of that shit, fam. I got a lot more. Seriously. I got a lot more. That's what it says. The authentic proof of these statements are so numerous that they could not be got within the compass of such a small and unpretending book as this. And I can only give a few honest of the most striking. So here goes. It was a destroyer, a terrible one, a god of darkness and night, that the Hebrews, in their first searching after a god, viewed the great and beneficent creator. Right? As ages went on and owing to the humanism teachings of the reforming prophets, this view became first modified and then altogether changed. Right? So let's continue. Watch this real quick. But those other primitive races in America did not progress, did not become civilized by contact with civilizing influence, nor did they develop civilization in themselves. There's no such thing as a standstill or a marking time for any nation. It must either go forward or back. And these primitive races in America went back. So watch this. Their gods were El Shaddai, the destroyer, from Shad, the destroyer. Technically Yahweh, but they say Jehovah, the annihilator, from Hova or Hava, the annihilation. Among the Iroquois Indians, the word Ni Yahweh Yahweh meant death, the terrible one. The Bible speaks of it the same exact way. He speaks of the Creator the same exact way. He gives you life, he takes it away. He cures, he heals. He cures, he gives disease. The Indians in the north of South America called the Great Spirit who sent plagues and sickness by the name Yahavi or Yavahi. A Dutch traveler, Hartzik, who spent many years in these countries, writes the following remarkable account. A member of the council named Pipersburg in the year 1746. This is remember, 1746. All right, we're at 2025, fam. Went right up to Maceroni, and on the seventh day of his journey, he saw on a plain situated between two mountain groups a high pyramid of hewn stone, perfectly square, ending in a point. He was anxious to inspect it closer, but none of the Indians would go with him. They told him that the building was the house of Yavahu, as they called their evil spirit. And we know that that's not what it meant, but let's continue. So he could not get to it, lest he might be forsaken by the Indians. Then it says the traveler Colton has something to say of the similar name in the use of among the American Indians. His words are, while the fire is burning on their altar, they dance round it, singing and shouting as chorus with a loud voice, the sound of Yahweh, right, or something like that. The Israelites, example, I believe, chapter 10, section 9, wish to go and hold a hag or a dancing round. These Indians also use the Hebrew word Elohim for their great spirit. Excuse me. In their holy songs, there is plainly to be heard a word frequently heard in Christian chords, hallelujah. According to the accounts of Latifau, Escarbago, Charlevoix, and Adair, basically James Adair, these Indians sing hallelujah. And they have a holy ark which must be always kept covered. See? Worship the Vohiva, and in their holy dances sing songs repeat this 3 times as a chorus, sometimes varying it by introducing the word Meshicha and Shiloh and exclaiming, Yo Meshicha, he Meshicha, wa Meshicha. Where we see the name split up, it's 3 parts. And Shiloh Yo, Shiloh he, Shiloh wa, right? Here now is the very Hebrew word Meshicha or Meshiach. What is that name? Prince or ruler? I didn't pick that name, family, because I wanted to be that. You know me, you guys talk to me, that you talk, and you know the ones that I talk to, I'm not like that. I am the way I am, but I don't ever think I'm better than you. Y'all know that shit. So the fact that this name comes above, and by the way, Meshika or Meshiko or Meshiach means anointed as well. They can't take that shit away from us, fam. Regardless of how many statues that may look like them, they want to bring about. And the word which has so puzzled biblical scholars, Shiloh, which is in the Bible, which we meet in the account of Jacob's blessing his sons, Genesis 49 and 10. That should be it. I think it's Genesis 49. Let me see. Genesis 49 and 10. Yeah. The Sefer shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. You see this in both, and this is the word that we use here. And I've showed you guys also other books that I have that speak of Balaam Akab, which means Lord Jacob. The Mayas, you know what I'm saying? Like the Quechua, they spoke. Matter of fact, the book I recently brought out, a famous writer from the 1960s, I believe. I think that's the right year, 1960s, and of Khazar origin. And he's boasting about their success, and at the same time he says, and by the way, here, he says it on page 371. I have the book right here. It says Jewish history in America. Hold on, let me. Yeah, I'll read this so you can get an idea of what he's saying. Like he's boasting. Jewish history in America begins with the expulsion of the Jews from Spain in the same year and month that Columbus set sail on his first voyage in search of the trade route to India. Jews served on the board his small flotilla as able-bodied seamen. You see this? I've always said this. Map readers, interpreters, and surgeons. Do you understand what he's talking about? So the first people that came on those ships were also Jews. They were Spaniards, they were Jews, they were Negroes, they were Arabs, basically. Do you understand? Predominantly North African, right? You'll have a glimpse of a sprinkle of West, but not any time in that moment of 1492. That came after, you know what I'm saying? And we'll get into that. And you guys already know that I have enough sources to show that, but we can always get into it later. Here's the important part. So after they're exclaiming their virtuosity and shit, you know what I'm saying? Their fucking accomplishment. They says, as a footnote to history, by the way, like we know we came and it was us that talked to these people. As a footnote to history, we must record the fact. You see this? This is not. It's not a like. Oh, by the way, no. This is as a footnote to history. Like, don't forget, this is real shit. We must record the fact that the Indians on the Caribbean island where the flotilla first landed were greeted. You see the word greeted in Hebrew and Arabic by one Luisa Torres, a Jewish interpreter aboard the flagship. Why, you say? For Columbus was certain the natives spoke either Hebrew or Arabic. Now, does it say after greeting us that, but we found out that it wasn't true? No. Matter of fact, you know what he does? He confirms it by indirectly saying it was the Torres, incidentally, who discovered maize and brought it to Europe, where with the potato it enriched the diet of the Western man. Wow. So what does he say? Basically, they knew we spoke either Hebrew or Aramaic, and they talked to us in those languages. Do you see where the communication started? And that's why we put our guard down, fam. These are the histories that they don't talk about. These are the things here. This is called Jews, God, and History, second edition, Max DeMont. Look them up. Now let's continue real quick, because then it talks about like the Nephilims, all that stuff. You guys know I don't really get too much into it. You guys that are interested, you guys can always check that out when you get this book. Let me continue here. It's just saying about the giants. Hold on, the mummies. Hold on, here we go. The skin of the skin of the Indians is also less. Okay, it's talking about the age. They said that we had people here living like 130. Okay, check this out. It is infinitely more rare to find an Indian than a Negro with gray hairs. You see that the differentiation here? You see that? Anyways, this is what I wanted to show you. I think it's this one. This will come from. Okay, here's where he's suggesting that it's from here to there. But here, check this out. He makes a good point, and then that's it, and then I'm done, because apparently you guys just talk a lot of shit and you don't back it up. Major Noah and Mr. Catlin are America's writers of ability, intelligence, and acute powers of observation, who had ample opportunity for studying the North American Indian tribes. He says these two men, writing independently and at different times, were so struck with the many points of the similarities between the manners, customs, and religions. Hold on a second. I know what was going on. There you go. That's what the sound was. And religions. Hold on, let me go back. These two men, writing independently, Noah and Catlin, at different times, were so struck with the many points of similarity between the manners, customs, and religious usage of the North American Indians and the ancient Hebrews, that they concluded that the former must be the descendants of the 10 lost tribes who went out of Asia, going from the southwest to the northeast and crossing by the barren motherfucking strait. See, you can't take this stuff away from us, regardless of how many assumptions you may want to conclude to. I'm not going to touch on this book, but this one is another heavy duty one, and I've showed you this before. I'm going to go through it one of these days, like the actual highlights that I have. But this is called the 10 tribes historically identified. The 10 tribes of Israel historically identified with the Aborigines of the Western Hemisphere. You get what I'm saying? But we back it up. We know who's bullshitting. We know who's not. But anyway, so I wanted to show this to y'all because again, they blocked this. So Yeah, have a good night, fam. Thank you for chiming in. By the way, tomorrow or Thursday, I'm gonna run because I think I have like 15 to 20 classes that have been blocked for more than a year. And I know a lot of you guys did not see those. So I'm going to go through them and I may play them all day on, whatever Turkey the Turkey Day is, right? You know what I'm saying? So I may play it all day. I don't know yet. But, you know what I mean? So just be mindful of that. And other than that, man, shalom, family, take care of yourselves. I appreciate you chiming in. Joe, appreciate your support, brother. Shivalba, thank you for chiming in as well. Let's see who else was here. And everybody else that's just kind of listening in, man. These things matter, fam. This is your history. And even if you have people that are like, oh no, we're not those people, fine, debunk my shit. Because I'm showing historical books, biblical examples, prophecies, culture, food, tools, music, pheno, like literally. We can go on and on. I don't even have to go to the curses. That's like icing on the cake. You get what I'm saying? So debunk that. You know what I'm saying? Debunk that. Good night, family. I'm gonna let her finish. Call it a night. I should have a live on Friday. I think on Friday I'm gonna do. Well, tomorrow I want to do the Justice 8. So, I'll be more mindful. Anyways, you guys enjoy this funny video. Let's go ahead and finish it off, and then play a couple songs, and that's it, man. Shalom, family. I hope it was edifying. All right, you guys take care of yourselves. Buenas noches a todos. All right.
They 100% are.
That's not it, dude. What the hell? Hold on a second. Oh, here it goes. All right. Shalom, family.
They're not documented. They 100% are. They 100% are. But it's not your information.
Sure it is. I'm a citizen of the country. I mean, I'm a citizen. How is it not my business?
They're not even working on your property.
It doesn't matter. They're working in my neighborhood. They're working next to my property.
I don't understand. They all have documentation and now you're demanding it?
Yes.
Are you demanding mine as well?
Well, you obviously are not Hispanic.
And why is that? Why are you not demanding my documentation?
Are you that dense? Are you?
Is this a racist thing? Is it because they're Hispanic?
Of course. Hispanics are the only undocumented here. Mexicans and South Americans.
At 3?
Yes. And we're facing a huge crisis in this country.
Do I need to get police involved here?
Sure.
So that you'll let these guys alone?
I'm not bothering them.
You are harassing them, and you're actually on this person's property as well.
No, I'm not.
Okay. I'm going to have these guys keep working.
Well, okay, and I'm going to call the police.
Okay. I will as well. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know, but I'm going to have these guys keep working. We're contracted by them. They're actually getting ready to come out and let you know the same exact things. So I'm going to have them keep on rocking and rolling.
You keep rocking and rolling.
Okay.
1, 2, and stand up. 1, 2, 3.
America! Yes. Thank you for participating in this ceremony with us. To America, you guys are all blessed. The crooked press media, the liberal press media,
Is he Chinese? He's got a f***ing umbrella. Chinese.
Oh my puppy, also.
Parasol, dude. Oh, parasol. Sorry.
Let's own together.
I'm Swedish, bro. I get.
Let's.
Oh, you're Swedish? You're white? The entire country knows this is nonsense. What did he say? And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're white. We're white. We're white. The entire country knows this is nonsense. What did he say? And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're white. We're white. We're white. The entire country.
Jesus and Lord. God.
Thank you.
Bible, Holy Bible. Yeah. Jesus.
We need you. You need you ahead. God, we need you ahead.
Welcome to another day in paradise, okay? I'd like to testify. In fact, I always testify. I've never not once not testified. It's a mistrial, okay? I missed most of it. I was resting my eyes, okay? They got nothing, and every legal expert says so. You got Jonathan Turley, very respected. He says Trump is innocent. In any way, probably Stormy liked it. You got Janine, the Dersh, Saul Goodman, Ally McBeal, the Lincoln lawyer. And you got Storm and Norman. She says, I banged her in the missionaries. Fake. She's more like Fort Knox in there. No one can get in for 3 blocks. Buttoned up tighter than Tom Fitton. You can't prove it, so none of it happened. But if it did, yeah. But if it did, she came up to me with tears in her eyes and she says, sir, you have to be the most virile golf champion since Dorf on Golf. And now she's saying it was over very quickly, which, by the way, totally fake, okay? In fact, she faked the entire thing very quickly. No, I don't think so. They don't call me the 3-term president for nothing, if you catch my...
En la Plaza de Reyes, Black 50, Soplón. Yeah. ¿Qué vas a saber?
¿Qué vas a saber tú? Oye, chibolito, faltomé. Pulpín de los pulpines, batería de Rapunzel, de rapeos, de raptos, de lagartos en cuartel. Cualquier la pega de cruel con un viejo coronel. Soy flojo, se me antojó dormirme en el laurel. Elevé mi level con un label y un Faber-Castell. Ya un papel, lo empape con sangre de todo aquel que se jura Nobel y no ve mis trenes en la riel. What's so man? ¿Por qué no sacan la tabue? Juro por mis abuelos que no te hablo por las powers. Soy chinchado neto, búscame por Pico Sour y te voy a meter al centro loco como Beckenbauer. Escúchame atento mi bro, que estamos rompiéndole en pro. El negro de Plaza de Reyes como siempre rompe de este micrófono. Que quiere meterle como yo pero no puede meterle taco pron. Si te pensaba que solo era un gallo, déjame decirle que se equivocó. Real motherfucker feeling on the street. Es el Black Sheep, Black Sea Mental de Plaza de Kings. Motherfucker, Soplón.
Nero Luigi, man, desempeño en la victoria para que sepa. Incas Mo, Money Gang Gang, yeah, yeah, Yo también he llorado, gente. También me han desplazado por mi rasgo afrodescendiente. Sí, un perro no habla pero siente. Cuento historias callejeras pa' barrios de delincuentes. Y soy un perro que te ladra, que te muerde y que te huele, nene. Soy más que Lele, ustedes para mí son pelele. Con mi jauría todo el día en busca de los cheles. Tengo un perro en fiscalía que nos mueve los papeles y otro en la comisaría para evitar el susto. Muchas veces me han llevado por solo como luzco. Perdón, madre mía, si yo le causé un disgusto, pero en esta vía yo crecí rodeado de perros chuscos. Yo sé que me quieren ganar, yo sé que me quieren tumbar y no pasará porque soy de verdad. Está súper rafina la Dodo Style, metido en latina aprendiendo un quizá. Yo tengo el style, no mido la raza del perro, yo mido por la lealtad y yo soy leal. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Saliste ese peña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. La calle limeña aquí nadie la dueña, ya nada es igual. Tiene que respetar, tiene que respetar. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Saliste ese peña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. La calle limeña aquí nada le dueña, ya nada es igual. Tiene que respetar, si yo soy tu papá. Es Incas Mob, negro. Es Incas Mob, nigga. Nero Luigi, man. Incas Mob, It's Money Gang, gang, gang,
Yango en la maldita casa.
Me llaman para que les dé al menos una vez al mes. Se metieron al lago y olvidaron que era el Ness. For everybody bless. La fama es una puta, me está llamando a las 3. Dile que llame después de las 16 y 25. Volví de la infancia de Abraham Lincoln. Con fuerza ya inco, luchando para salir del rincón. Letra callejera en CD brinco. Under del under, puede que tu viejo te lo mande. Sale de vez en cuando como el cóndor por los Andes. Mi cuerpo no es de madera como Dandy. Antes que me branden, yo seré el ola que los expande. Aunque esto me pique en la madera, no sirven ni para romper el ticket de un evento afuera. Loco por la carrera, desafían la gravedad. Te espero tras la barrera y llego con la novedad. Niña, tú solo espera que ya encontré la manera. He visto bastante por querer lograrlo saltando escalones dentro de la escalera. La vida me puso al depósito, yo soy de púlpito para que el mundo conociéramos. De esta parte mejor interprete capaz de esta cordillera, sin luz afuera. Que el espectáculo es dentro, la calle es mi templo, tiembla el pavimento, cuando yo me concentro. Mis disparos son temas, la calle un poema, se siente desde cuando entro. Y a toditos estos drogaditos que creen que rapean, los regreso al centro de mi balcón. Yo he visto el clon de clon en la misma gestión, pero a la malla no llega el balón. Y para esta pantalla no existe patrón, yo ya me sé la cuestión y doy fe por cada renglón. Consciente de la operación del final Mbappé con la edad de bufón. Veían la maldita casa, Plaza de Rey y papá. El héroe Luigi Black mental, hip hop peruano. Rasgo la maldita base. Yo.
Soy de Perú, bandido, contento porque en esta parte del mundo he nacido. Más que orgulloso de crecer en donde yo he crecido. Me siento bendecido y aquí me quiero morir. Y la verdad porque así será. Agradecido con la vida y con Dios que me puso aquí. Y con todo aquello que influyó para que fuera en sí. Porque así yo puedo decirte gracias por mi color y idioma y también por mi idiosincrasia. Yo soy uno más que aprecia la tierra en la que nació. Aunque el género en el que me expreso por aquí no se inventó, pero que chucha, esto es pa' aquel que escucha y se mantiene en lucha con el puño arriba y la capucha. Tierra de donde gran parte siempre se quita, pero regresa pues como un niño a su madre necesita. Gobierna una política maldita donde si se enferma el que no tiene no le regalan ni las curitas. Por eso, pero no es sinónimo de progreso y no esas mierdas sentadas en el Congreso. En fin, somos de un sitio en donde nada cae del cielo, en donde muchos trabajamos desde niños hasta abuelos. Lo que siempre sé en esta mi tierra crece, a pesar que unas veces no paguen al que cosecha lo que merece. No solo aquí, también en toda América Latina, víctima de aquella supuesta raza más fina. Pero no olviden que en Perú no existen razas, somos una especie de seres humanos que se porten en masa, que cuando se revela atacarán enjambre. Un peruano se puede morir de todo, pero nunca de hambre. Yo represento a los desiertos y a la montaña, aquella selva que si miras de arriba te engaña y te hace pensar que el paraíso está en el suelo, donde se refleja el cielo temprano en la mañana. Yo soy peruano así que mejor infórmese antes de juzgar a mi apariencia y mi piel morena. Aquellos seres humanos que sobresalen, soportando todo a pesar de que muchos les envenenan. Paisajes de mil colores, comidas de mil sabores, playas con arenas blanquitas, no quiero nada. Tierra de grandes señores, culturas y soñadores, gente amable que te hace pensar, yo me quedo acá. Sufrimos y nos levantamos como otros pueblos hermanos, víctimas de terroristas y tiranos que se llevaron mucho y a muchos para el carajo. Pero el peruano sabe cómo se sale de abajo. Por eso más de lo que sé y de lo que escucho, en todas partes siempre respetan a los peruchos. Y es un hecho que a la mayoría nada le complace, razón por la cual quiere ser el mejor en lo que hace. Es que así se nace cuando eres peruano, aquí tienes de todo pero también nada se regala, hermano. Norte, sur o centro, en donde quiera que te pares, lo dijo Romero, el Perú es de la concha su madre. Orgulloso de mi esencia, de mi herencia, tengo un tatuaje en la maleta que te indicará mi procedencia, para que quede bien claro de dónde es que soy. Represento a donde voy y así lo hicimos siempre hasta el sol de hoy. Esta canción yo la compuse estando lejos de mi patria y no por querer hacerme el pendejo. Desde la costa por la sierra hasta la selva somos cholos. Si tú me entiendes no permitas que yo haga este coro solo. Yo represento a los desiertos y a la montaña, aquella selva que si miras de arriba te engaña y te hace pensar que el paraíso está en el suelo, donde se refleja el cielo temprano en la mañana. Yo soy peruano así que mejor infórmese antes de juzgar a mi apariencia y mi piel morena. Aquellos seres humanos que sobresalen, soportando todo a pesar de que muchos les envenenan. pasó. Pregunta por su vida y mira su cuerpo giro en la mitad de la cabeza. Y se pregunta si es su muerto más. Si la muerte vino por él, llevándose alegría. A su hermana la puedes ver llorando todavía. Todos se preguntan quién, pero nadie puede responder hasta que pega el fierro en la mano del muerto. Ahora es un fantasma que vive pintado en una pared. El mismo que anda penando en el barrio. No está tranquilo porque caminando con otro la ve. Por la que se mató sin pensarlo bien. ¿Y para dónde es que se van? Cuando por una tonta razón se van aquellos que más quieres. Pregunto para dónde irán. Es uno menos en el barrio y uno más para el recuerdo. De pocos a pocos mi gente se desvanece, pero casi siempre son los que no lo merecen. La muerte de un inocente, lo sabe la gente, pero nadie dice que él se lo llevó. Se rompió un corazón, lágrimas de madre, sangre en sus manos y no lo comprende el padre. Recuerda que la vida no tiene un valor y grita al cielo, mejor recógeme a mi Señor. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente.
Dime dónde están los que desaparecieron, los que no volvieron, los que de uniforme se vistieron. ¿Dónde están los que ya no están del soldado Juan, que una bala traspasó su cuerpo con el ruido de una? Son historias como mi prima Gloria, que su cuerpo no aparece pero queda su memoria. Niña de 5 años que su aliento ya es agónico. Encuentra cuerpo pero envuelto está en periódico. La vida es una tumba que la suerte te depara. La muerte está en la mano de aquel hombre que dispara. Padre que espera a su hijo que vive en la urbe, pero al día siguiente lo recogen en la morgue. Se cuentan horas, días y también los calendarios. Primo, nadie sabe si caras en cementerios. Como mi amigo Mario que jugaba a ser sicario, hasta mató a su hermano y lo tomó como algo serio. Se cuentan horas, días y también las estadísticas. Para la policía un expediente más en balística. La lista aumenta y también el desenfreno, como aquel niño que golpeado en el hogar se siente ajeno. Le pone freno y toma la decisión, sacando la pistola de su padre en el cajón. Su lápida ahora pinta: hijo mío, te queremos. Si la muerte nos permite, algún día nos veremos.
Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. ¿Dónde van? ¿Dónde? Dime dónde van las almas que se pierden en el camino de la vida. ¿Dónde van? Dime dónde van. Que te tienen pulsos y otros por impulsos para el diván. Penas que se cuentan en la esquina, cuidado con la neblina que la muerte se avecina por la acera. Joven estudiante muere en una balacera. Otro lío de pandillas que en el diario aparecerá. La vida se desaparece como el humo de un cigarro. Loco disparando desde un carro. Otra vida que se pierde bajo el cielo gris. No se puede ser feliz cuando gente muere en un desliz. Como Marco que soñaba con ser narco, viajar en barco y olvidarse de las penas en su cuarto. Pero cada vez que parcha ya se siente harto y su corazón marchito marcha para el infarto. Almas en oferta como Berta, que se acuesta en una cama pero en otra se despierta. Son 14 años y ya perdió la niñez. Se desaparece un viernes y no regresa en 2 o 3. Coleccionando amores sin importancia a los rumores. Malos menores sin temores y sin valores, deambulando en cada sitio, con el futuro a convertirse en un graffiti. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente.
Yo. Comentando. ¿Qué dicen? Sí. ¿Qué cuentan? Ya. Escúchame. Ya. Los medios cuentan que si hay libertad de prensa, la mordaz es cosa escasa y todos dicen lo que piensan. Y esa sutil es impresa y repetida diariamente tiene contenta tu mente con yo soy combate y fiesta. Presta el control, Tarantino no es tan gore como los crímenes de amor que a toda hora se nos muestra. Pues tal vez la estrategia impuesta, pánico en el público y manejarás el cuestapal. Político en vez de patrullas se vende camilla para un hospital, como si esa mierda de combo no diera seguridad. No será casualidad que el otro dueño del canal sea el sogro sobrino pero bueno de un primo hermano pariente papá. Si esa nostalgia no es noticia, su codicia se evidencia. Propicia violencia y plástico, panémicas, belleza. Fútbol, patriotismo, falso, culos, vasos de cerveza. Pele cáncer pa' tu mesa y el domingo en misa pesa. Sobre su cabeza pesa el atraso mental del pueblo. Oposición vendió trasero, dictador, grupo Romero. Pero se confundieron acá, la palabra es cruda. Autoeducación, camino se afloja la lucha a través de cultura. Es como genera de uno, tal vez otro loco se suma. Ya saben, cortina de humo que explota la mina que mata la cuna. Primo, vengo que trate la friuna, no una pura canción de aventura. Así no censura, emite basura, no le conviene que sepa verdura. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. ¿Qué? Hay extorsiones, robo, violaciones, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará.
Sensacionalismo, amigo eterno de la prensa, el mismo que forjó al humano sumiso,
callado y muestra.
En el noticiero, en el artículo del diario, la vida de una bebé que poco invierte
al vecindario.
Sirven como fieles feligreses, a oscuro intereses, mienten todo el día, crean solo estupideces. La historia afirma, indica que siempre negaron información alternativa que todo pueblo merece. A cada instante pareciera su labor asesinar una memoria colectiva que hace una nación, con una prensa cómplice que juega con humor, desconociendo ese dolor que nos dejó ese dictador. Cortina de humo es su mejor función, para apartarte de la fuente harán de todo, pues miró hoy como venderte el culo de Sharon Stone, cagándose en tu derecho a la objetiva información. El narco, el almirante, el presidente, el congresista, algún ministro, algún legado, de seguro es el patrón de ese periódico morboso y amarillo que al leerlo 2 minutos te vuelve en un show. Los medios son culpables, responsables de toda propaganda basura que te ofrece la TV. Pues será mejor que se autoeduque, pues my friend, porque el comercio de los medios te carcome hasta las 100.
Hay violaciones, extorsiones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará.
CPF.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu juez. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.